Sabres picked up their first win of the season last night against Ottawa. They're next going to be in action on Saturday. They'll be hosting the Florida Panthers. For more, though, on last night, our own Paul Hamilton does have a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Around the NHL tonight, 11 games this evening. Some of the notable action going on. At 7, the Devils host Florida and Ottawa. They're on a back-to-back. They host Seattle. Then 3 games at 10 o'clock. Kings have the Penguins in town. The Hurricanes are out west to take on Anaheim. And the Golden Knights, they're going to host the Boston Bruins. In the NFL, Thursday Night Football will kick off the week. Cincinnati does host Pittsburgh. For TV, of course, it's over on Amazon Prime, and you can also listen to the game. That's going to be right here on WGR, starting at 7:30, kickoff at 8:15. Notably for the Bengals, edge rusher Trey Hendrickson not expected to play, though Steelers safety Deshaun Elliott is expected in tonight's lineup. Then in baseball, Game 3 of the NLCS, Dodgers host Milwaukee. LA does hold a 2-0 series lead. First pitch there is just after 6. Then at 8:30, it's Game 4 of the ALCS. Seattle hosts Toronto. The Mariners hold a 2-1 series lead. And then Sports Talk on WGR is presented by Paramount Plus. You can't count on much, but you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus. Watch your local NFL games live every Sunday all season long. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Okay. Hello, Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Thanks for joining us. We're expecting Dan Schulman, longtime broadcaster, Blue Jays baseball, all kinds of stuff for ESPN, to join us here any minute. Any second, I think, is probably more accurate. Also today, Joe Ostrowski at his usual time, 3:30, and Tyler Dunn. Then I don't know what we do after that. I guess we'll just have to fill.
Yeah, it's just going to be tough.
Once Tyler gets
challenging.
done,
I don't know.
Rest of the day is just us talking.
I'll read off the NFL schedule week by week.
Go at your own pace. With us now on the West Her Hotline is Dan Schulman, Blue Jays and Mariners Game 4 tonight. Dan got connected again this time to us through our boss, Alan Davis, who goes way back. With Dan, and don't you think it's pretty much time, Dan, where you can feel like you can stop owing him favors?
No, I think it's kind of a lifetime thing. I mean, he took a chance on me a million years ago when nobody else would. So it's the least I can do. Happy to be with you guys.
Very nice. Thank you, Dan. Great to see. We knew we'd be doing this here for a couple days.
We were rooting hard for a Blue Jay win last night.
We're all like, we don't want it to be 3-zip. So
right.
With authority last night, Dan.
Yeah, very much so. And this is kind of who they've been for much of the season, one of the best offensive teams in baseball. But they've had their peaks and valleys, and every time you kind of look at them and say, well, it was a nice run, but maybe that's it, or maybe they're not quite this good, they find a way. They come back and surprise you. I mean, they go to the best pitcher's park in baseball against a really good pitcher who was great in both of his starts against Detroit in the division series, and they just pound them. They wind up hitting 5 homers, 4 doubles in the game, and it's really quite a story, doing it without Bo Bichette, but just finding a way up and down the lineup. And kind of fitting that last night it was Ernie Clement in the 8 spot and Andres Jimenez in the 9 spot who got it started, and then the onslaught continued.
Yeah, I'm curious, Dan. I don't recall exactly. You can certainly fill us in and correct me if I'm wrong, that the Jays were thought to be a team that was going to be contending level, World Series contending level team this year, but it happened that way. Here they are now 2-1 down in the ALCS. I'm wondering if there was a moment this season for you being behind the microphone for all these games where it sort of got real, like they could really do this.
Yeah, and you're right. Not very many people on the outside. People on the inside are saying they always believe, but nobody on the outside thought this was possible. So, and then they were 26-28 near the end of May. Like, they just weren't playing very well. They weren't hitting at all. They had a big home run from Bo Bichette, a pinch hit home run at the end of a road trip in Texas that got them a win when they were hardly hitting at all. But I think really when I began to feel it, like through June, they started playing well. And series by series, it was like, boy, they beat this team and they swept that team. Maybe they're pretty good. But it was when the Yankees came into town at the end of June 30th, and then over the Canada Day holiday, July 1st. It was a 4-game series, and the Blue Jays swept it and went from 3 back to 1 up. And, 3 back of the Yankees June 30th is pretty good. You're obviously doing pretty well if you're only 3 games out of first. But I think it was sweeping that series from the Yankees in the middle of the season that made a lot of people think that this team might be for real.
With Dan Schulman, Mike Schopp, and the Bulldog here, I've gotten around with my baseball allegiances over my years, although I've always had a soft spot for the Jays. One of my favorite teams ever was the Cleveland team about 20 years ago, Grady Sizemore, like that group. And the reason why it so clicked for me was that almost the entire roster, Dan, played in Buffalo. Like it was almost entirely homegrown. And there's some, if not a lot of that with the Jays right now, not to mention that they literally played seasons here. So right. I feel like, Buffalo has kind of always been more of a Yankees town, but, if you're into baseball this way, the way I was describing, this team really works.
Yeah, and a lot of guys have come through Buffalo. Like you said, Ernie Clement's a guy who played in Buffalo. Braden Fisher, Mason Fluharty, Trey Savage, and there are many others. And, that's been, I think, part of the secret sauce of this team. And listen, they're not a little engine that could. They spend a lot of money. They're a big payroll, big market team, but they've had some really nice stories from the farm system this year. Nathan Lucas spent a lot of time at Buffalo, right, and waited forever for an opportunity, finally got it, made the most of it, and he's become a mainstay on this team. So I think that's one of the reasons why certainly Blue Jays fans in Canada love this team is there are these great success stories. Like, how do you not like Ernie Clement? How do you not root for Nathan Lucas? Et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, what Trey Savage has done now. But whether it's people in Buffalo or really anywhere in the U.S., I would think as people watch this team, they look at them and go, boy, they're fun. And I don't know how much, obviously, we're still doing games on Sportsnet right now. We're allowed to still do playoff games. In the U.S., everybody is seeing Fox. But in Canada, people are still seeing our normal broadcast. But, so I don't know how much, the Fox, Joe and John are getting into the background story of this guy, the background story of that guy. But there are a lot of great stories on this team, and it's a really, really likable bunch. And I think that comes across on TV. So I think there are a lot of different reasons to like this team.
I'd like to fold Vladimir Guerrero Jr. into all this because the big contract right as the season is beginning, that often, in my experience, Dan, can cut two ways, right? Like, with it becomes tremendous expectation, and if it isn't going well, then the guy, he doesn't care anymore, he's not trying, all this sort of stuff that, no one really knows about and only guesses at. But yet, he's just come through like a monster here in September and October.
Yeah, well, imagine, let's go into a parallel universe and imagine he didn't sign a contract and he's becoming a free agent at the end of this season. It would be a story to dwarf all stories, right? It would be an unbelievable distraction. So, and like to be honest with you, like he had a good year, but there are times this year where, including the last 3 weeks of the regular season, where he didn't hit very much at all, and the fan base gets a little antsy with him sometimes, because he's so unbelievably talented, as you have seen in the postseason, that whenever he's not hitting doubles and homers, it's like, what's going on, Vladdy? But obviously he's a huge part of the team. He's one of the best hitters in baseball, and I'm really happy for him that he has played well in the playoffs on this big stage, because the 3 previous times the Blue Jays were in the playoffs, they got knocked out in 2 straight, all 3 times, and he didn't do much offensively. So the fact that he demolished the Yankees is, there's no better story for Blue Jays fans than beating the Yankees and your dude doing it to them. And then he had 2 very quiet games against Seattle, but obviously was a monster last night. So, the tale of the contract will be told over the next 14 years. It hasn't even started yet. It starts next season, but right now, what he's doing, especially with Bo Bichette out, they need everything they can get from Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Just a few minutes left with Dan Schulman. Max Scherzer tonight for Toronto. What's he like? I found myself last night going from, it's 0-2, like, this is looking bleak, to, okay, and Scherzer tomorrow, because maybe I'll get vintage Max Scherzer. I don't know. What does your gut tell you on him, and what's been your experience with him?
And my experience with him has been great. I've loved getting to know him better. I knew him a little bit before, but I've loved getting to know him much better. And the energy and intensity that you see, that's real and that's constant. Like, if there's an off switch, I haven't found it on him. He is on all the time. What are we going to get? That's a great question. He had 5-6 starts in a row in the middle of the year, which were great. And then he finished with 5-6 starts at the end of the season, which were rough. I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere in between. But if he can just keep him in the game, I think if they can get 4 or 5 innings and he gives up a couple of runs, they would take that. And we don't know. Like, this could be the last start of Max Scherzer's career. We have no idea, right? He's 41, and we don't know if the Blue Jays are going to go to the World Series or if he'll play next year. But he's the logical choice. Bassett was on the IL. He's not stretched out. Barrios is on the IL. You can't really do a bullpen game in the middle of 3 games in 3 days. So I'm hoping that a few weeks away, has gotten him physically better, stronger. His stuff's still good. It's a question of locating. If he doesn't locate, he's going to get hit. So, and the biggest thing to me is the first inning. He's got really rough numbers in the first inning of the games this year, and everybody knows about Cal Raleigh and Julio Rodriguez and all that, the guys he'll face in the first inning. Hopefully he can put a 0 on the board.
Well, he's right in between the age of the starting quarterbacks in the football game tonight, so he shouldn't feel too old. He doesn't have to take a hit,
right.
At least.
What's the scene out there like, Dan? We know it's playoffs, so I would think it's probably a little harder to get your hands on tickets, but historically, Canadian Blue Jays fans just flood over the border and get in that stadium in Seattle. Has that been what Game 3 was like, or not?
No, it's different. There may be a couple, 2,000-3,000 Canadians here. I mean, I'm sure Mariners tickets scooped up the playoff tickets as soon as they could. And, in May or July or whenever it is the Blue Jays come down here, depending on the year, people do it 8 months in advance. They book hotels, they buy tickets, and whatever you can do. But obviously the tickets are not as readily available in the playoffs. Seattle fans want them. So it's a great scene. I think this is one of the best scenes in baseball, and I think this is one of the most beautiful ballparks in baseball. And I think they have a great fan base. There's no animosity between Mariner fans and Blue Jay fans. Even when there are 25,000 Blue Jay fans here during the regular season, everybody's really well behaved on both sides. And I love doing games here, and I commend everybody here in Seattle for being great fans of their team. And it's nice to see. It's not just a few hundred Blue Jay fans. I would guess maybe 2,000 to 3,000, and you can hear them, and certainly you could hear them in the 8th and 9th inning last night.
So it's not quite Sabres Leafs. We've talked about Sabres Leafs, you and I, and I don't know. I'd love to think that if this ever happened, like it has in '99, but like if it happened again, that Sabres fans would own most of that building. But I wonder. I was in Seattle 2 summers ago. I've never been to that ballpark, and I had the whole day before a flight home very early the next morning. I'm like, well, this is my chance. But it was Toronto, and it sort of scared me off that it was like going to be too wild of a scene. I don't know. It was still like a July baseball game. But
how wild could it be? Really?
I know. I regret not going. Anyway. Thank you, Dan. Great work over the years, and hopefully someday we'll talk again.
All right, guys. Thank you. Enjoy the game.
All right. We hope to.
Do.
Dan Schulman on the Wester Hotline. Blue Jays and Mariners, the second game of the day. The first one is Milwaukee-LA at 6. How does that add up to? 11 something?
Yeah, I don't know. I did not look at the schedule until we got in here minutes before we were setting up to talk to Dan, and I was the TV was on. We walked in and I thought, I wonder if baseball starts at 4 because there's 2 games. Maybe it should.
Well, it's both West Coast teams.
Yeah.
So that's early.
That'd be 1 o'clock out there. That could be tough
on a Thursday.
Yeah.
I mean, I would go.
Sure. Yeah.
I wondered the same thing you did about the crowd there. I didn't see any of the game last night.
Yeah, me either.
So,
football
tonight too.
How much different is 6? I mean, 6 o'clock is 3 o'clock. I mean, 1 o'clock, whatever. Yeah, just an old guy complaining. I just want playoff baseball to watch during the afternoon. That's all. I have a job where I can look at a TV every few minutes, and I like that.
It is too much to ask.
Yeah.
NFL tonight, Amazon for Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. 5.5 from the Steelers. Do you know what you want to do with this game?
Well, before I found out Trey Hendrickson was not going to play, I decided I could see Joe Flacco having like one last amazing night with those receivers. and it's the short week thing, and so I took the Bengals on the money line with some Flacco action.
Flaction, if you will.
Action. Sure.
Flaction. Weeknight flaction.
And I should admit, I looked once I got here and I found out Hendrickson is not expected to play now. Did not know that when I put the parlay in. It was still offering me the full amount back, and I went, no, you know what? I'm going to just stay. I'm just going to stay. I'm going to stay here. I'm not redoing it.
The full amount.
Yeah.
Wow. I do these bets once in a while, and as soon as I place them, it's not like. Remember in, is it When Harry Met Sally, where Meg Ryan puts the letter in the mailbox and then closes the door and then opens it to see if it went in and does that over and over and over? I'm not quite that obsessive when it comes to it, but I do like to just sort of, whenever I'm done with the app, after a given stint,
sure,
I will look at my bets.
Sure.
Right away, the number's reduced.
That's almost always how it is. I was very surprised to see that the number was still the amount I'd put in on the bet.
Oh, it's a good sign.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's that worked on me. All right, I'm just gonna stay. There must be a reason they're not only giving me like $8 here
instead of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Joe and Sam like the Bengals, I think.
Yeah. Actually, I gotta look. I think I put 20 on it.
Oof.
So, but whatever.
I don't know.
I'm staying put.
Like watching them all the time, especially like this is how Sam talks. I mean, I feel like they're both this, but Sam like is a real he's a grinder. He's just all the screens are open, and I don't even know if I like this game, but I think the line. This is kind of the art of it, if I can use that word. I predict the line is going to go that way. So I'll bet this now, and then I'll do that later if I want. Just want to get your as they say, closing line value, CLV with this stuff. So I did that, and this is definitely not a criticism of those guys, especially knowing that this is kind of when they listen, when they're about to come on.
Right. Let's rip Joe right now. That sounds like a great idea.
It was maybe right after Bills Patriots. And the line for Monday night in Atlanta was 3.5. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to take the Bills minus 3.5 because I feel like probably as the week goes on, people will bet the Bills.
Right.
I mean, aren't they sort of a good team?
Sure. And you see it only 3.5.
Do we think so anymore?
You don't know who Atlanta really is.
Yeah. And then it went to 4.5. I'm like, oh, beautiful. I did it right.
You did a good thing.
They went back. Then they lost.
Yeah.
So I lost. It didn't pay off for me this time. But I don't know what I want to do with the game.
Your process was good, though. That
It was good process.
It was good process. Yeah.
That's right. That's what matters. Not the lost money.
Not the winning or the losing. The process is what
The process was good. He shouted from the door as his family drove off in a U-Haul. Waving to them.
I did all the work.
I did it. I did it right. I was right. Famous last words. I have had a tough time this week remembering that this is Cincinnati and not Cleveland tonight because of Flacco.
I 100% agree. Maybe even like a subconscious reason I even put the bet in on Flacco and the Bengals was so that I could remember that he's on the Bengals. Yeah, because I think there's a chance if I hadn't looked at the app today for some reason. I don't look at it every day, but so if I'd skipped that until now, or even until the game was on, I mean, we probably would have talked about it, so I would have known. But there's a chance. There's some world out there where I would have turned the game on tonight and gone, "Oh yeah, Flacco." Yeah, he's on the. It's hard to escape. I mean, the Pittsburgh coach Tomlin was ripping the Browns for making the trade, which is kind of a strange look. So I'm exaggerating a little, but the orange, the same state. It just
C.
the division. It's
CB.
It's just it's easy to confuse.
So easy
for someone my age.
What was the Tomlin thing about? So he really wasn't taking a shot at the Bengals. He was taking a shot at the Browns,
right?
Who they had just beaten.
Yeah, I could paraphrase. I don't have the exact quote here, but it was like, I don't think we're in the business of helping out, helping a division rival get back on their feet or something along those lines. Like, what are you doing helping out a team that you're competing against directly?
Yes, Andrew Berry, the Browns GM, must be smarter than I am.
That's the line. Yep.
He made this trade, but Flacco has not been good.
No.
Are the Bengals dead? Going into this game, would you say they're dead? 2-4.
Well, I mean, I'm picking them to win this game, but yes, I think even if they win this game, I think it will not hold up. I just cannot imagine it's going to hold up.
I bet, and this is a question for Joe, I suppose, who will be on with us in about 12 minutes. If you like the Bengals to win tonight, there's probably a way to play that on the futures market. Because then it's a little bit like New England and Buffalo, where they'd be a game and a half out behind the Steelers.
Right.
But with the win head-to-head, like the Patriots have over the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And, Baltimore and Cleveland struggling so badly. I don't know. There's so much wrong with Cincinnati.
I would not be able to get there. Like my backing the Bengals tonight is entirely just a one-off, short week division game. There is talent there. To me, Flacco could have a day where he doesn't throw it to the other team too many times, and Chase and Higgins get loose and just do their thing, and they score 27 points and win the game. Because the Steelers have not been really that great on offense. Like I don't think you really should be scared of them going in as bad as the Bengals have been largely on defense and down Trey Hendrickson on top of it. I'm not that worried about the Steelers boat racing them. Like, I think this will be a competitive game, and if it is, Flacco can make a play or two. That's really it. I don't think that there's staying power there. Like, I think whoever they play next week, they could lose, and he could throw 3 picks. Yeah, I'm betting on him having it together tonight.
Home to the Jets next week. Home to the Bears. I think the Bears then go Baltimore, Cincinnati back-to-back if that's the schedule. So a little bit of hope maybe for Cincinnati if they get this game. Flacco, so, the Ravens for so long, Super Bowl win. 2018 is the Allen draft, and of course Lamar Jackson too. And Flacco gets hurt mid-season. I think there was an injury where they went to Jackson, and he never came out.
Right.
Like they did that. I mean, the Bills had Nathan Peterman to start that season. They didn't have, even Tyrod Taylor, where this is what happened. But Flacco in 18 wraps up his career with Baltimore. He's 33. Maybe he felt old. He's kind of big and slow and stoic.
He to me, looked about the same then as he does now.
So, right. I mean, it was he'd been there a decade. And won, and now they replaced him. They meant to. Drafting Jackson in the first round, that's what you mean to do. You just don't know when. And so, is that it for Joe Flacco? Not necessarily. I don't know how you remember thinking of this then. But since, Denver, Jets for 3 years, mostly as a backup. Cleveland, 2 years ago. Lights up, in a good way. Amari Cooper, late in the season. Playoffs, they get blown out. Indianapolis.
A couple of pick sixes in that playoff loss.
Yes. Indianapolis last year faced the Bills, starting for the Colts. Taron Johnson had a pick six in that game. So Flacco there, mentioned that with Eric Wood on yesterday. And then the Browns again this year, and now the Bengals. Does not know about something called the NFC, but has been, in a lot of places. And, is this Max Scherzer's last game? Is this Joe Flacco's last season or game, or I don't know. And Rodgers, I think maybe Flacco takes the glare off Rodgers a little bit. Pittsburgh's 4-1, so not as easy to make all the jokes about who Aaron Rodgers is and how his career is seemingly ending.
It's working well enough so far.
Well enough.
Even though the offense hasn't been great, but still they're getting their points and they're getting their wins. But it's part of the reason I like the Bengals tonight, too, is that I just don't really believe in Pittsburgh. If we're living in a world where the Bills can go to Atlanta and lose on Monday night, not that Atlanta and the Bengals should be, equated as equals here, but, just anything can happen in this league. And to me, the Bengals have enough talent, and Flacco can be good enough at times. And I just don't believe the Steelers. I have a hard time thinking about the Steelers at 5-1. I just don't. I would not have expected that. So I'm using my preconceived ideas about these teams going into the season, even as ammo to go against the Steelers tonight.
If it means anything, most of the last several night games have been won by the underdog. So that would be Cincinnati here. Joe Ostrowski from Bet Sweats will join us next. Tyler Dunn today. We've had it's not any busier necessarily, but an active week so far since the Bills lost, talking to fans who are frustrated with one or another thing about the Bills. We may end up, probably will, dabbling in some more of that today. So thanks for being with us, and we'll talk to Joe Ostrowski next here on WGR. NFL tonight, Amazon for Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. 5.5 from the Steelers. Do you know what you want to do with this game?
Well, before I found out Trey Hendrickson was not going to play, I decided I could see Joe Flacco having like one last amazing night with those receivers. And it's the short week thing, and so I took the Bengals on the money line with some Flacco action.
Flaction, if you will.
Action. Sure.
Flaction. Weeknight flaction.
And I should admit, I looked once I got here and I found out Hendrickson is not expected to play now. Did not know that when I put the parlay in. It was still offering me the full amount back, and I went, no, you know what? I'm going to just stay. I'm just going to stay. I'm going to stay here. I'm not redoing it.
The full amount.
Yeah.
Wow. Are the Bengals dead? Going into this game, would you say they're dead? 2-4.
Well, I mean, I'm picking them to win this game, but yes, I think even if they win this game, I think it will not hold up. I just cannot imagine it's going to hold up.
I bet, and this is a question for Joe, I suppose, who will be on with us in about 12 minutes. If you like the Bengals to win tonight, there's probably a way to play that on the futures market. Because then it's a little bit like New England and Buffalo, where they'd be a game and a half out behind the Steelers.
Right.
But with the win head-to-head. Like the Patriots have over the Bills. Mm-hmm. And, Baltimore and Cleveland struggling so badly. I don't know. There's so much wrong with Cincinnati.
I would not be able to get there. Like my backing the Bengals tonight is entirely just a one-off, short week, division game. There is talent there. To me, Flacco could have a day where he doesn't throw it to the other team too many times, and Chase and Higgins get loose and just do their thing, and they score 27 points and win the game. Because the Steelers have not been really that great on offense. Like I don't think you really should be scared of them going in as bad as the Bengals have been largely on defense and down Trey Hendrickson on top of it. I'm not that worried about the Steelers boat racing them. Like, I think this will be a competitive game, and if it is, Flacco can make a play or two. That's really it. I don't think that there's staying power there. Like, I think whoever they play next week, they could lose, and he could throw 3 picks. Yeah, I'm betting on him having it together tonight.
same year. So to see him still out there doing it, it's pretty incredible. They're both doing it at a high level. It was fun to see Joe, especially in that second half last week, sling the ball around the yard a little bit.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, who is 42, Aaron Rodgers 41, Joe Flacco 40, tonight's starting quarterbacks on Thursday Night Football. Joe Ostrowski will help us analyze it in just a moment. If you missed Dan Schulman, who will broadcast tonight's Blue Jays-Mariners game for Sportsnet, check it out on the Odyssey app or at WGR550.com. Joe Ostrowski now from Bet Sweats, weekday mornings, 9 to noon Eastern, the Bet 1520 on YouTube and the Odyssey app as well. Hi, Joe.
Hey, guys.
I've got a quick, funny dog story for you on the heels of your show today.
Oh, my God.
Heels, no pun intended.
Yes.
John Murray is the name of your guest whose dog was distracting him this morning.
And Sam was very frustrated, and because they're friends, so it's hilarious when Sam gets very mad. He was mad at the start of the show. He had technical issues because he's doing the show from New York today, and then he was mad at the end of the show when the dog kept barking during the segment.
So I had a friend over who is going to do some work at my house, and my dog Margot loses it, right? My wife's on important work calls, Margot. Of course, I know this is going to happen. Louis comes over, dog starts freaking out. Then in between that and my Purple Insider hit is I'm watching you, and this dog is bothering John Murray and distracting your show. And my dog hears this dog from across the house and goes off. Now there's a dog in the house as far as she knows, which is really just I'm watching Bet Sweats. Right. So now I have my own dog problem.
Just sit her down and explain that you're just watching. You're just watching a show.
So now I have my own dog problem. She calms down just in time for me to do Matthew's podcast, and wouldn't you know it, it's like once a month they come to pick up the branches on the side of the at the end of the driveway. Here come the tree guys. There she goes again. Tree guys leave, and Matthew's like, "What do we do? Just got to press forward." So almost immediately after the tree guys leave, here comes Amazon, right up the driveway, and it's just more Margot. And okay, well, I know this is almost over, and so is this story. I know this is almost over. This has got to be the end of it. No, because of what we had ordered, Amazon guy needs to ring the doorbell. So usually they just drop off the box and go. Not today. So now it's the doorbell, and I mean, what a sequence. And it's John Murray's fault the way I'm looking at it.
I can only hope, Joe, that at some point when I was still working at home regularly, when you started joining us regularly, that Fred interrupted one of your segments, because that would happen from the attic. He liked to sit up there with me, and a fire truck goes by, and that's.
See, I don't mind it. I think it's fun. I think the audience can relate. They understand exactly what's happening, but Sam gets a little frustrated. Last week it was the power washers that came at the start of the show. You would think all these people would work around our work schedules, right? Because we want to work from home at our convenience. But,
yes, of course.
So much.
And you have a golden, you said.
Yes.
And I would not
apparently
approve of...
perfectly trained.
Yes, never a distraction.
No.
I would not approve of the dog running through hotels like Kirk Herbstreit's dog, for the record.
Definitely not. It's a thing. My wife left a very nasty text message to the landscapers because once again they left the gate open. Ooh. He got out. She was frantic. Found him at the corner house, just wanting to try and get the dog out of their house at their back door. But there's been some issues. There was a surgery recently because a corn on the cob was eaten. I don't know where it came from. I have no idea. But not perfectly trained at all.
I do like this kind of thing on shows, including our own. When it gets like this, like Joe today was talking about the surgery, just in passing, the surgery for his dog. He's like, did they need it? I mean, maybe not. I don't even know if they needed the surgery.
Oh, you should have seen the glare I got. Just even broaching that subject. Do we have to spend the thousands of dollars? It was, yeah. You would have thought it was our child.
We could go on, but probably shouldn't. Yes. Your thoughts on the Bills right now, Joe? We've had they've lost 2 games in a row every one of these years. This isn't unusual or unprecedented at all for them to have stumbled. But I wonder to what extent you think their problems are serious.
And I'm sure it feels worse because apparently everyone has crowned the Chiefs as Super Bowl champions right now at this early stage in the season, as they're looking good, and now Rice is coming back this week. So I assume everything goes back to that road at Kansas City. I was a little surprised. Now, in my world, I'm looking at the point spread, and a lot of times when it's moving in a certain direction and it was moving away from the favorite in Buffalo, like, what is going on here? And the betting market certainly nailed that one. I'm concerned about the defense. There's no doubt about it. I don't want to go too far, like I've seen with some that have taken the Falcons side and, whoa, see, this defense is real with all these impactful players that they've got on this defense. This is a heck of a team. I think everybody knew that Bijan matchup was awful for the Bills. Yeah. And unfortunately for them, it played out exactly like many Bills fans worried about. Turnovers, a bit of an issue as well. And one of my questions was, why was Cook off the field so much the other night?
They don't trust him to block a blitz-heavy scheme coming at him. That's really it, because they've got Ty Johnson as their third down back, and that's a big part of that is that they trust him much more in blitz pickup, and that's really the beginning and the end of it from their end of things. And I've tended to respect that, but I think the problem we've got now is that Johnson is just not really offering anything in terms of receptions or even running the ball. He's a nothing in the offense. And in a game like Monday night, it really became stark that they didn't have any answers, and maybe Cook could have provided some kind of a spark.
And without Kincaid, is he that impactful this year? I know he's had a terrific season, but without him, it looked completely different.
Yeah, that I have a hard time buying, but it might be true. And the idea that this revolves around Dalton Kincaid is tough for me, but certainly you could have that takeaway Monday night. For all the games in a row, the record amount of games in a row where they did not lose the turnover battle, through 6 games, they have more turnovers than takeaways. They're -1 for the year so far. So there goes that.
Who could have seen that coming?
I know. Yep. All of us.
He was removed as the favorite for the first time this year for the MVP. For the first time, we got a new favorite. You know who it is.
Mahomes.
Yep.
It's close. And it's Mayfield, too, in there, right?
Third, yes. Yeah, right. I don't want to say right away. I mean, he's deserved it. If you're asking me my vote right now, I would write down Baker, but we still have a ways to go.
Yeah. What has this 2-game skid done, if anything, to the Bills' futures odds, Joe?
So the And then you've got the Eagles 5th, just because probably they won the Super Bowl last year, and they have beaten some good teams. And then you get outside of there, like, the Rams, the Colts, the Broncos. What's the difference between the Broncos / Bucks and, like, say, the Packers or the Chiefs or the Bills? It doesn't seem to be much to me right now.
Which should mean that there might be good value plays. I think you and I share interest in one such team, and that's Seattle.
Yep.
Right? I mean, Seattle, the big problem, I thought that would just completely ruin their season. Nobody liked their offensive line. And we all watched and have seen for years, Sam Darnold under pressure, just like not be capable. And instead, they're holding up, he's thriving, and he's really only throwing to one player. And that player, Jackson Smith-Njigba, is just dominating this year. Favorite to lead the league in the end in receiving yards. So defense is good. Maybe the division isn't that good. Maybe there's an opening for Seattle.
Maybe the top of the conference isn't that good.
Right.
as you've seen teams come back down to earth on the AFC side, it's certainly the Ravens. And now it doesn't look like the Eagles are who people thought they were coming into the season. And in their division, the 49ers, way too many. Now it's Warner. We just know this is not going to hold up. They have a good record, but it's not going to last. The top of the conference is coming back down. How much do you trust the Lions? Outside of them, who do you have to beat? Yeah, I do like the Seahawks. They might be as balanced as anybody. I'm shocked what they're doing on the road. McDonald has a 10-1 straight-up record on the road since he's gotten.
Wow.
And they've actually struggled at home, which is not what we're used to when it comes to that team. But, yeah, a conference that is certainly down. Yeah, what's the difference between Seattle and some of those top 7-8 teams that we were just talking about? I don't think there's much.
You know, any season can change the perspective like this. We're kind of back to the any given Sunday years, where like just nobody's elite. It can't be a big deal, but I think about the kickoff rules a lot for this. Like, if I'm a mediocre team and I'm going to start drives at the 30 or 35 yard line, and I can kick a field goal from your 40, what do I need? 25 yards to score?
Can stay in games a lot easier.
Right. And like a top team, that doesn't help them. Because if they start at their 20 in the old days, however old you want to make it, and have to drive 50 yards to be in scoring position, well, they're more able to do it. Like, that's a team that could do it, whereas these mid teams would have a tougher time. I don't know that really is all of it. It's certainly not all of it. But I wonder how big of the role it's playing. So,
and a lot of those mid teams are leading the league in takeaways. It's Jacksonville still at the top. Then you have Chicago, Pittsburgh going tonight. They're tied for third with 10 takeaways on the year. And you guys know, gap of 2, 3. When it's +3, you're winning 90% of the time. So, I mean, you add that into the mix too, and that could be all the difference.
What do you think tonight, Joe?
I agree with you guys. I like the Bengals. +5.5 is where I would go. It's an interesting spot for the Steelers. They go from bye to playing on Sunday to playing on Thursday, which I think can be a bit challenging. And I think there's a reason that Tomlin was so upset about Joe Flacco being traded within the division. Understandably, he has his struggles in the first half last week. There was one first down. They had 3 3-and-outs. And then all of a sudden, he's making it work in the second half. Throws for 179 yards. I think Chase, we're going to see a big bump in his performance for everybody that was getting frustrated owning him in fantasy. You could look in the prop market as well. It's in the mid-70s tonight. And if they fall behind, he's just going to keep on firing. His pass attempts is 36.5. He's hit 45 already 3 times this year, including last week. But I think it's a boost for Cincinnati. Now they have a ton of messes, right? You worry about the Steelers' pass rush. The O-line is terrible. Their defense is awful. So big picture, I heard you guys chat about that. I can't get there, but you don't trust anybody in that division. That's the thing. Maybe the Ravens do turn it on once they return from bye and you assume Lamar's healthy and they get healthier on defense moving forward. But, yeah, I do like the Bengals tonight. I certainly think that they can hang around in this game. I don't like taking Tomlin when he's a big favorite. As an underdog and to pick him, absolutely. But I don't like him in this spot.
Joe, real quick before you go, we opened our show today talking to Dan Schulman, longtime play-by-play voice for the Blue Jays. Do they have your attention at all getting on the board? They're +205 to win the series at this point.
Yeah, it's easy to say after the fact. It certainly felt like last night, okay, I think this is going to be the spot. Look how hot that offense was coming into the series, and they just went ice cold. And even though it was Kirby on the other side, it felt like it was their time. And boy, I wasn't expecting 13. I wasn't expecting 5 home runs. I see this one going the distance, guys. Like, this matchup is going to be close. It's just strange how it started with all the road teams winning. And this is something we've never seen before. Between both series, the road team has won the first 5 games in the LCS. But the Blue Jays absolutely have my attention with that offense. And Mike, you mentioned it on Twitter last night about Vladdy Jr. When you said that, I quickly looked it up for World Series MVP. It was 30-1 then. This morning he was 20-1. But yeah, I mean, that
Still
performance
good.
that he put together, yeah, it's still a pretty good number if you believe they can make it. I think they can. I expect this one to go distance. Two very balanced teams.
Brewers, meantime, down 2-0 with Game 3 tonight in L.A., plus 860 to win the series. So, I mean,
Yeah, I'm not buying that one,
huge
man.
number. Yeah.
Not buying that. Not stepping out too far. But yeah, I took the Dodgers when they were 4-1 before the playoffs for the World Series. Just the talent, I just don't see any. Even though there are holes with that team, people mention the bullpen guys, and if you look at the bullpen stats in the playoffs, of those still alive, they have the best ERA. They're the best in some of the other metrics, like expected ERA and xFIP and all that stuff. So they've been able to step up, and when needed, they push their starters like they did the other day. So they also can go down that road.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Sasaki, who closed out. Was it Game 1 or was it the last series, whatever it was? It was against the Phillies, where he pitched perfect late innings for the Dodgers.
Three innings, I want to say.
Three innings, yeah. I'm thinking about, like, before the season in fantasy, well, he's so good. But, like, it's the Dodgers, and they can just sort of hold everybody back. Like, they're going to be in the playoffs, and they kind of did that with this guy. So, nice luxury to have. Very good, Joe. Enjoy Week 7, and thanks, as always, for your time.
Thanks, guys. You do the same.
Joe Ostrowski, weekday mornings on the BetMGM Network, Odyssey, Sports Betting Insider. Tyler Dunn coming up at 4. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR. Are the Bengals dead? Going into this game, would you say they're dead? 2-4.
Well, I mean, I'm picking them to win this game, but yes, I think even if they win this game, I think it will not hold up. I just cannot imagine it's going to hold up.
I bet, and this is a question for Joe, I suppose, who will be on with us in about 12 minutes. If you like the Bengals to win tonight, there's probably a way to play that on the futures market. Because then it's a little bit like New England and Buffalo, where they'd be a game and a half out behind the Steelers.
Right.
But with the win head-to-head, like the Patriots have over the Bills. Mm-hmm. And, Baltimore and Cleveland struggling so badly. I don't know. There's so much wrong with Cincinnati.
I would not be able to get there. Like my backing the Bengals tonight is entirely just a one-off, short week, division game. There is talent there. To me, Flacco can have a day where he doesn't throw it to the other team too many times, and Chase and Higgins get loose and just do their thing, and they score 27 points and win the game. Because the Steelers have not been really that great on offense. Like I don't think you really should be scared of them going in as bad as the Bengals have been largely on defense and down Trey Hendrickson on top of it. I'm not that worried about the Steelers boat racing them. Like I think this will be a competitive game, and if it is, Flacco can make a play or two. That's really it. I don't think that there's staying power there. Like, I think whoever they play next week, they could lose and he could throw 3 picks. Yeah, I'm betting on him having it together tonight.
Would be remiss to go too long into today's show without mentioning the Sabres win. First win of the year, first lead of the year, then first win of the year. 8 goals. Wow. From 2 in 3 games to 8 in 1. Wow, pretty good.
Yeah, and they got pushed. The third period opened, right? They had a 5-2 lead going into the third and 2 quick ones for Ottawa. And, I mean, anyone who doesn't admit that they were like, oh, here we go, all caps, right? This is Colorado last year, whatever. Same old, but boom, they scored right away. Just took the game right back. That was maybe the most encouraging thing from the whole night, is that they got in a spot where I would have expected them to be pretty shook in that moment. But Lindy called a timeout, and they got it right back on track. It helps that the Ottawa goalie was,
It does.
not capable, is how I want to put it. He had really great numbers, very small number, like under 20 games in the NHL from last year into this year, like maybe 12 games total, but excellent numbers. Like save percentage last year, 920 something. And they're like, okay, this is going to be one of these guys we're all like, oh, who is this guy? Well, he's actually good. No, he's not. I don't know how he could even have those numbers in the NHL looking the way he just was. He was out to lunch last night, I thought. So, good.
Sorry I missed it.
Yeah. Like,
I'm not even sure right now what I was watching instead. Oh, curling.
oh, I see. Yeah. Good.
Grand Slam event out in Nisku.
Well, you'll be ready for our next curling pregame show then.
So ready. When is that? I could just absolutely nail that, I think.
I have no doubt you could.
But I still never know where the shots need to be going. I think about, like, could I broadcast this sport? I've put many, many hours into watching it now. Absolutely not. I could not. I could not ever tell you what should be the next shot.
what they're trying to do, probably, right?
Not without somebody telling me first.
Yeah.
If I see them put the broom down, then I'm going to know. But before that, I don't have any idea what I would do here. So I could never call a game.
You know why that is? You never played.
Well, it's part of it. That's part of it. There's lots of sports I didn't play, and I could talk about them believably. This one, for as much as I love it and constantly watch it, I could never do it. I wish I could, because I think maybe there'd be a chance for me someday.
I'll bet somewhere in your makeup that's a part of the appeal.
Oh, appeal.
That you don't have it, and you're I don't know. I'll bet that works in some way that keeps you coming back to it.
Maybe. I know what shots are called now.
Okay.
Like I know an angle raise from a run back. I know what shots are called now. I know a freeze. I know a draw.
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
I just never know them before they happen. Yeah. That's all. Tyler Dunn next. GoLongTD.com. We'll talk some Bills with Tyler after sports. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.
Folks, Bulldog here.
Are the Bengals dead? Going into this game, would you say they're dead? 2-4.
Well, I mean, I'm picking them to win this game, but yes, I think even if they win this game, I think it will not hold up. I just cannot imagine it's going to hold up.
I bet, and this is a question for Joe, I suppose, who will be on with us in about 12 minutes. if you like the Bengals to win tonight, there's probably a way to play that on the futures market. Because then it's a little bit like New England and Buffalo, where they'd be a game and a half out behind the Steelers.
Right.
But with the win head-to-head, like the Patriots have over the Bills. Mm-hmm. And, Baltimore and Cleveland struggling so badly. I don't know. There's so much wrong with Cincinnati.
I would not be able to get there. Like my backing the Bengals tonight is entirely just a one-off, short week division game. There is talent there. To me, Flacco could have a day where he doesn't throw it to the other team too many times, and Chase and Higgins get loose and just do their thing, and they score 27 points and win the game. Because the Steelers have not been really that great on offense. Like I don't think you really should be scared of them going in as bad as the Bengals have been largely on defense and down Trey Hendrickson on top of it. I'm not that worried about the Steelers boat racing them. Like, I think this will be a competitive game, and if it is, Flacco can make a play or two. That's really it. I don't think that there's staying power there. Like, I think whoever they play next week, they could lose, and he could throw 3 picks. I'm betting on him having it together tonight.
Sabres win. First win of the year, first lead of the year, then first win of the year. 8 goals. Wow. From 2 in 3 games to 8 in 1. Wow, pretty good.
Yeah, and they got pushed. The third period opened, right? They had a 5-2 lead going into the third and 2 quick ones for Ottawa. And, I mean, anyone who doesn't admit that they were like, oh, here we go, all caps, right? This is Colorado last year, whatever. Same old, but boom, they scored right away. Just took the game right back. That was maybe the most encouraging thing from the whole night, is that they got in a spot where I would have expected them to be pretty shook in that moment. But Lindy called a timeout, and they got it right back on track. It helps that the Ottawa goalie was,
it does,
not capable, is how I want to put it. He had really great numbers, very small number, like under 20 games in the NHL from last year into this year, like maybe 12 games total, but excellent numbers. Like save percentage last year, 920 something. And they're like, okay, this is going to be one of these guys we're all like, oh, who is this guy? Well, he's actually good. No, he's not. I don't know how he could even have those numbers in the NHL looking the way he just was. He was out to lunch last night, I thought. So, good.
Sorry I missed it.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure right now what I was watching instead. Oh, curling.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Good.
Grand Slam event out in Nisku.
Well, you'll be ready for our next curling pregame show then.
Yeah, so ready.
Sabres picked up their first W of the season, an 8-4 win over Ottawa. Now they're not back in action again until Saturday when they host the Florida Panthers. Though for more on last night, our own Paul Hamilton has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Around the rest of the league, 11 games in action tonight. Some notable games. At 7, the Devils host Florida and Ottawa. They are in a back-to-back. They are going to host Seattle. Then 3 games at 10 o'clock. Kings have the Penguins in town. Hurricanes, they are out west versus the Anaheim Ducks. And then the Golden Knights, they host the Boston Bruins. For football, it is Thursday night. Cincinnati hosts Pittsburgh. For TV, it is over on Amazon Prime, but you can also listen to the game right here on WGR starting at 7:30. Kickoff is at 8:15. For the Bengals, edge rusher Trey Hendrickson not expected to play. Same cannot be said, though, for Steelers safety Deshaun Elliott. He is expected to be in tonight's lineup. Then in baseball, Game 3 of the NLCS, Dodgers host Milwaukee. LA does hold a 2-0 series lead. Their first pitch is just after 6. Aaron Ashby and Tyler Glasnow are the starters for that game. Then at 8:30, Game 4 of the ALCS. The Mariners host Toronto. Seattle holds a 2-1 series lead. Max Scherzer and Luis Castillo are on the bump tonight. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
Hey, put a little bit. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Welcome back. I mean, look, let's not give him a hard time. We can be pretty sure Bulldog is not watching this Sylvania Constantini Team Kim 7th End live from Alberta.
That's right what you think.
I was just making what I thought was a safe assumption. But, riveting stuff. With us now on the Wester Hotline is our friend Tyler Dunn, golongtd.com. We won't put you on the spot asking you what you're watching right now, Tyler, but in general, how are things?
Tight end game film is what Tyler's watching.
Yes, would love that.
Things are good. Yeah, living down here in the glorious southern tier now. Grew up in the greater Salamanca, Ellicottville area, so built a house, 3 kids. Life's crazy. Wouldn't want it any other way.
Where was your last road trip?
Last road trip, I drove to Allen Park, Michigan last week, and then Foxborough a week or two before that.
Detroit, for the Lions? Was that what you were doing in Michigan?
Yeah. I sat down with Al-Quanine Muhammad, who is a maniac. That story will be out tomorrow. He's a wild man, and also always love learning about Dan Campbell. I mean, you can't – like the Dan Campbell stories are just nonstop from players, from coaches. Love everything he does there. It's really a blueprint for every coach, every team. Even though they lost, I get it. But maybe you don't want your players smacking other players across the face like Brian Branch did. But it was funny, guys. Did you hear? Was it Zaire Franklin came out for the Colts? He was like, "Yeah, Juju needed that." We all love what Brian Branch did. So yeah, I guess maybe it pays to get smacked.
It's nice when you're a figure in the league that other players think needs to get punched. That's good. And on Campbell, it's a very vague thing to say because what are you going to think of to counter it? But has the entirety of NFL media ever been more wrong about someone than we all were about Dan Campbell? He was a joke when he took that job.
You know what, Bulldog? It's not just media. I was chatting with somebody who was seated in that Cleveland Browns front office when they were looking for a head coach, when they might have hired Freddie Kitchens. And when Dan Campbell had his interview, I mean, Jimmy Haslam really couldn't get past the fact that this was a coach who wanted to run the ball and play good defense. I mean, they were so obsessed with analytics, they just looked at him like a dinosaur. So it wasn't just, self-righteous media members laughing at Dan Campbell, which was always ridiculous and to be expected, I guess. It was, people making the decisions. They look down at him. So I love it, man. I mean, football, as long as there's blocking and tackling and you physically have to move another human being. I suppose in our lifetime, they'll stick flags and belts and and try to get people to watch. But until then, like, you need a coach who emphasizes this stuff. It matters. And he emphasized it from day one and completely turned around one of the most losing franchises in NFL history.
I guess I just feel like I have to say, I don't think he's Dan Campbell without the numbers, though. Like that's the thing about him is he won over everybody. I thought Bulldog was about to say, has there ever been a coach that everybody liked more or respected more?
That's same, yeah.
He's way up there on that list, but some guys have the pull, they have the aura, they have the ability to, get you to run through the proverbial wall for them. But a lot of those same guys, like might be stereotyping, don't give you the other thing.
Well, certainly. He definitely looked like the stereotype and came off like the stereotype that would never respect that stuff. That's a part of the story, I think.
Yeah.
And he started 4-19-1. I mean, I think Brian Callahan was just fired. He had a 4-19 record with the Titans, but just goes to show it's how it looked, right? Even when they're losing all those games early on, I mean, you could tell he was building something. I mean, these players, they wanted to run through a brick wall. I remember sitting out with Penei Sewell at one point, early on in this rebuild, and he just looked me dead in the eye, and he's like, I would die on a football field for this team, this coach. I'm like, get out of here. That's you're exaggerating. He goes, no, I would die on a field. Like, so, like Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, they know exactly what they're looking for inside of players, and I think that's a big part of it too. Is like, yeah, the speeches are awesome. He wants to throw you in the deep end and see if you can swim with his team. All those analogies work, but I think Dan Campbell knows it's got to be in you. Like you can't just hand out toughness pills to your players. Like you've got to be looking for something when you're drafting guys and signing guys, and they always know what they're looking for when they're building a roster.
With Tyler Dunn, so back to home base here. This is the question of the week. Like just what you think the Bills really are. I mean, they have lost 2 games in a row every one of these years. And I can only sort of remember, but do think that right now, last year, after 2 straight losses, which were pretty ugly themselves, we were like, maybe this isn't that bad. And they won almost every game the rest of the way. How do you feel about this year's version?
Right, at least this time around, fellas, there's no concussion controversy, and we're all wondering, did Josh Allen really, suffer a concussion banging his head on the turf there at NRG Stadium? So I guess that's the sunny side up, right? But there's a lot that is going wrong. I mean, I'm sure you guys have been power ranking it all week. I mean, I don't even know where you start because it is concerning. Like back to how things look, like this it doesn't look right. It seems like the offense doesn't even really know what it wants to be. But I'd probably start with the defense. When you give up 335 first-half yards to the Atlanta Falcons, like that's problem number one, especially when you've got a head coach whose specialty is on that side of the ball. Like, every team has injuries, and the Bills have injuries. Those are real on both sides of the ball. But watching that Atlanta game, I just kept thinking back to the 49ers and Rams a couple weeks ago, Thursday night. Kyle Shanahan, what's his specialty? It's offense. And you look at everybody that he's without in that game, Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, Brandon Ayuk, Jawan Jennings, Ben Bartch as guard, George Kittle, maybe the best player on their entire team, Nick Bosa, is out. And what does Shanahan do? He gets 342 passing yards out of Matt freaking Jones, who by the way, wasn't healthy himself when they beat the Rams,
right.
A team with Super Bowl aspirations. So I don't know. I think, you've got to ask for more out of your head coach to kind of patch these leaks and just make it work with what you have and maybe not give up 300-plus yards and a half. So there's a lot of problems, but I guess I'd start there because it's reminiscent of the playoffs when you're down a couple guys and Patrick Mahomes barely breaks a sweat.
I respect starting there, and certainly it's indisputable what happened. But they also only gave up the 21 points and then held them to a field goal in the second half, and that brings us to the offense, Tyler, because to me that has been, despite McDermott's area of expertise, that should be and has been. I think this team's fastball is Josh Allen and an offense that can light up the scoreboard, and they look like they've lost their way here the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's like, you shouldn't just lose Dalton Kincaid, Curtis Samuel, and then Josh Palmer soon into the game and look that feeble. I can't sit here and defend Josh Allen in the offense when they score 14 points, in a dome. Isn't it wild though? Like a few years ago, I remember talking to Bills players about this, and they kind of lamented the fact that they had an offense that was built for a dome. And that I think Isaiah McKenzie said this on their show. If we got Cincinnati in a dome, we would have blown them out. And he's probably right. And so what did they do out of that playoff loss? They changed the structure of their offense, and I think there was a lot of intelligence to that. Like you got pushed around in your own house by Cincinnati. You just looked like a soft football team when it mattered most. So you put resources into the offensive line. You emphasize running the ball. I mean, it definitely was made clear to Joe Brady. This is the direction that we want to take this thing. And you're one game from the Super Bowl last year. So there's a lot of good there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's good to run the ball, as we were just saying with Dan Campbell. But now there you are in a dome, and it just looks like a completely different offense than what everybody's used to. So maybe they can't really toggle between play styles, and blowtorch teams with 3, 4, 5 wide while also bashing away with the run. So that's a big problem. I don't know. I still, maybe it's unpopular. I still like what the GM did over the offseason. I think that Brandon Beane is looking at the big picture, and to him the best way to help Josh Allen is by building up a defense, giving him an offensive line. I think he's looking at Miami and even Cincinnati and seeing all that money tied up in those receivers and their roster construction, and thinking, no, that we don't want to get caught up into those issues. But man, they definitely lack explosion, and you shouldn't just lose a couple guys and see it go bad so fast, I suppose.
With Tyler Dunne, the big question, apart from these issues internally, in terms of the playoffs, I think, is the Patriots. At least that's the first question, is maybe there will be a Kansas City one later. There often is. But whether New England is good enough to push them, what do you think?
They absolutely are good enough to push the Bills. I get a kick out of it. I talked to a lot of those former coaches with the Chicago Bears for our Caleb Williams, Ryan Poles, Bears series ahead of the season. And I get it. There'll be pushback, and folks will say, oh, it's sour grapes. They have an axe to grind. They were pissed off. They lost their jobs, and one of the reasons was their quarterback didn't care that much. But they provide detail, right? They're giving you stories. It was pretty jarring to then talk to a former coach for the Patriots who got fired that was on Gerard Mayo's staff and hear him just gush about Drake May and paint him as a future star in this league because of how he works. Basically the opposite of Caleb Williams in every conceivable way. How he sees the field, the pre-snap the pre-snap brains to know where he's going to go with the football, but also the post-snap, like the spatial awareness to kind of see in his peripheral vision everything that's going on, in addition to the big arm, the athleticism. This is somebody that is going to put in the work, and he thought he'd be a top 5 quarterback in 2026. He thought it'd take that long for him to kind of grasp Josh McDaniels' offense that puts so much on your plate, and also for the Patriots to maybe get a weapon because they don't really have a lot of weapons at all. And here he is. He's a top 5 quarterback right now. They're on that rookie quarterback contract. They just spent, $260-270 million to get Mike Vrabel kind of guys. They just beat the Bills in their house. I think about an easy schedule. I think this goes right to December with the Patriots and the Bills.
With Tyler Dunne, golongtd.com. Best team in the league right now is not obvious. You might have how many, possible teams that could lay claim to that? Maybe 8, maybe more. I don't know. Who would your answer be?
Yeah. Do people like this parity? This is what the league wants, right? Like they kind of want everybody at 2-4 to 4-2, and I don't know. I'm not going to take that Daniel Jones bait again. And Aaron Rodgers is winning games, but it's dinking and dunking, and kind of winning with the tipped field goal the way Mike Tomlin teams do. We'll see what happens in the playoffs with them. So that's like the silver lining here for Buffalo is you still have the reigning MVP. You still have time to get healthier and figure everything out. I do think part of it, too, is I think they are saving some stuff. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I think they're trying to be fully formed by January and maybe hold back a little bit, kind of similar to Kansas City. It's the different way of thinking. it's kind of like the old Greg Popovich Spurs where you spend a couple months just kind of playing possum with teams. And I don't know, maybe it's an excuse. There shouldn't be an excuse. They look bad in Atlanta. But I do think that the Bills are maybe holding back some stuff, and that maybe they got to pull it out a little sooner than they expected. So they're right there. Like, yeah, Allen doesn't look great. But when you look at the league as a whole, to your point, who really scares you, right? Like, Joe Burrow's out. Lamar Jackson is currently hurt, and the Ravens are a mess. Like, these teams that you thought you'd have to get past to win a Super Bowl are banged up, except for one.
The Chiefs.
Except for Kansas City.
The Chiefs are still
healthy,
right.
And I'd be scared as hell of them right now.
Yeah, that's the team. It wouldn't take me long to get to them if I were trying to tick off who I think the best team in the league is. Even though they're just sitting there at 3-3 right now, it just feels like since Worthy has come back, that there was a point in the summer, Tyler. Maybe I even said this to you. Like I feel like with all the talk about their demise, they get blown out in the Super Bowl. The offense has been inept for almost maybe 2 full seasons practically. Like I can feel a Patrick Mahomes 5,000-yard, 40-touchdown season coming, and I don't know that we'll get there. But boy, since Xavier Worthy's been back, now they get Rice back, it's popping again.
Yeah, I mean that Lions game. I mean, it was the 4th and goal just to see Xavier Worthy spring off the line. I mean, Amika Robertson for the Lions. Like he tries to get hands on him and just can't. Like that's what you're going to see now with Rashee Rice back. All these one-on-one matchups, all this speed. It's going to be a problem for all teams. And you know what? There's no identity issues in Kansas City. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have been together forever. I mean, they know each other's thoughts before either one of them has to say a word. And maybe that's would be a little disheartening if you're the Bills. Is that's what you have to get past, obviously. And throw that Burrow Bengals game in there. I think these playoff losses, teams have scored on 31 of 40 non-kneel down possessions. I mean, we've rattled off those numbers. They aren't pretty. And you had your own union in Brian Dable and Josh Allen. I mean, they did have that kind of relationship. And you were blowtorching teams. You had the perfect game against New England in the wild card. You had the 13 seconds game. That was the team, no doubt, that should have won it all. And it's not time to, write conclusions and eulogies and all that. But as we talk about the Chiefs and that partnership, I can't help but think of the Bills had it themselves. They had it here. And it's not like you can just keep Dable and let McDermott go, obviously, with what they were doing at that time. But I'm just telling you, this is from players. This is from coaches. That was a special, special relationship that they had right there at One Bills Drive.
What about Brian Dable at this point? Is he going to make it because Dart is good enough to save him?
Man, exactly. It's been rough. It's been rough for the Giants. I think so, though. I think that it took a long time, and they've had issues with injuries. But number one, just a misplaced faith in Daniel Jones. And if there's a lesson to take, like I was just talking to a Giants coach about this. He's like, man, if you could have been a fly on the wall in those meetings, Brian Dable and Daniel Jones could not have been any more different personality-wise. Like, we all saw Dable and Allen on the sideline, right? He's in his ear screaming after that interception against the Patriots. But Allen could take it. Allen could respond, and they were like blood off the field. They were unbelievably close. Daniel Jones is just very, very serious, very, very buttoned up, stoic. Like, he's very sensitive. He never really got over the Hard Knock stuff. When they were actually thinking about Jane Daniels, he didn't like that. Yeah. But even before that, I was told, like, he signs that big contract that everybody thought was absurd. He was mad that it was just a 2-year deal and was kind of poo-pooing it behind the scenes. It's like, I don't know, Josh Allen, like, if there's a slight, he's going to go out there and basically say, like, F you, I'm proving you wrong. How dare you even think about a quarterback? And I think that Dable wants a quarterback like that. And he was pushing hard for Jackson Dart. Personality-wise, they clicked. I think on the board they clicked on Lake Shador Sanders. I think a report came out this week that, hell, he wanted him with their number 3 overall pick. And so they get Abdul Carter there. They trade up for Dart late. It's going to be ugly at times. They don't really have much talent around him yet. But, yeah, I think if Dart just continues to show a little promise, they win a game here or there, that he keeps his job as he should.
Best team in the NFC. You just saw Detroit up close. Is it someone else, or you like the Lions for this?
I still like the Lions. That was ugly against Kansas City. And golf was pretty average in the second half. But I think it's the Lions and the Bucks. I mean, God, we talk about all these injuries. There's nobody more decimated than Tampa Bay. I mean, they're 2 injuries away from trotting out, Rydell Anthony and Ike Hilliard from those old 90s Bucks teams at receiver. They got nothing. But Tez Johnson's like 5'2", running downfield, and Baker's making it happen. It's
Listen, Tyler, some of us need production from Tez Johnson urgently. That's what
I was going to throw a Jaquez Green reference. I'm sure you had him on some dynasty teams once upon a time.
May
right?
have. I probably did. If it's a guy, I probably had him. Yeah.
Imagine living your life in such a way that that's a sentence that you have to say. I need production from Tez Johnson.
Tez Johnson, baby.
It's just so tough. It's so
The Bucks
tough.
are living that reality right now.
Right. Mayfield's got to be. I don't know, Tyler, if you've done a long piece on him already that I don't remember. But man, I would read the bleep out of. And he's just so easy to root for the way his career's gone to this point.
Oh my God, yeah, he's awesome, and we always come back to the Cleveland Browns just screwing things up here, don't we? Yep. I mean, they had him in house, and you let him get away. I'm kind of piecing together some reporting on that still, but one Browns player who's actually really close with Baker. He was telling me, look, at that time he didn't even really blame the Browns because he said that Baker was so ticked off at his employer, everybody there, for how they were kind of treating him. Remember, he had played the whole year with a torn up shoulder, his left shoulder, and I think the relationship was kind of broken. But the Browns, he said, were trying to get in touch with him for a while and just couldn't. So they pivoted, and obviously they pivoted to somebody that had some disgusting allegations against him, and Deshaun Watson, and mortgaged their future and mortgaged $230 million guaranteed, and it blew up in their face. But I think that it's still on the Browns though. Like you should know that that's Baker Mayfield. You should know that he plays off of emotion. He is if confidence is a muscle, man. When he's confident, there's nobody better in football. And you should have known he was playing hurt. Like what you saw that fall wasn't Baker Mayfield at full strength. So. Yeah, I mean, shame on the Browns for letting him leave the building, and how can you not love what he's doing in Tampa? I mean, he's competing with Kyle Trask at one point for his job after the Carolina Panthers kind of spit him out. And, I think that if he's the MVP frontrunner, and he's just tough as hell. I mean, I don't think I can say it on the radio. Andy Janovich was a fullback for those Browns, and we were talking about that season and Baker playing through the shoulder and everything. And he said, quote, the thing about Baker is he won't say bleep to anyone about anything. You could cut his bleep off, and he wouldn't bleep and say bleep. Like
you made it.
He is somebody that will play regardless of anything he's going through. And that matters when it's the leader of your team. And you see, what was the play last week? 2 defenders just had him sandwiched in the pocket, and he ducks, he escapes, he jukes, he rams through another. Like he just plays off of emotion. A lot like Josh Allen when he's at his best, as well as any quarterback in the sport.
I think we got the spirit of the quote, so
Good.
don't worry about what you left out.
Text me what you bleep later, Tyler. I'm confused.
Thanks as always.
An appendage. If you were to cut off a certain appendage, he wouldn't say anything.
We're a little closer to understanding now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tyler. What's next? Quickly for golongtd.com. Oh, you mentioned one piece. Yes.
Got the Lions story tomorrow, and hoping maybe to get up there to Bills country next week and be a big game. Who thought Carolina Panthers would be a big game? But they got to get a win. I think more than getting a win, it's just how it looks. It's got to look a little smoother on both sides of the ball. So yeah, probably looking at that a little bit.
4-2 versus 3-3 as we speak. Bills at Panthers in Week 8. Tyler, thanks again.
Hey, thank you guys.
Tyler Dunn on the West Her Hotline. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Lines are open for your calls at 803-0550. This is WGR. Sabres win. First win of the year, first lead of the year, then first win of the year. 8 goals. Wow. From 2 in 3 games to 8 in 1. Wow, pretty good.
Yeah, and they got pushed. The third period opened, right? They had a 5-2 lead going into the third and 2 quick ones for Ottawa. And, I mean, anyone who doesn't admit that they were like, oh, here we go, all caps, right? This is Colorado last year, whatever. Same old, but boom, they scored right away. Just took the game right back. That was maybe the most encouraging thing from the whole night, is that they got in a spot where I would have expected them to be pretty shook in that moment. But Lindy called a timeout, and they got it right back on track. It helps that the Ottawa goalie was,
It does.
not capable, is how I want to put it. He had really great numbers, very small number, like under 20 games in the NHL from last year into this year, like maybe 12 games total, but excellent numbers. Like save percentage last year, 920 something. And they're like, okay, this is going to be one of these guys we're all like, oh, who is this guy? Well, he's actually good. No, he's not. I don't know how he could even have those numbers in the NHL looking the way he just was. He was out to lunch last night, I thought. So, good.
Sorry I missed it.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure right now what I was watching instead. Oh, curling.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Good.
Grand Slam event out in Nisku.
Well, you'll be ready for our next curling pregame show then.
Yeah, so ready. Are the Bengals dead? Going into this game, would you say they're dead? 2-4.
Well, I mean, I'm picking them to win this game, but yes, I think even if they win this game, I think it will not hold up. I just cannot imagine it's going to hold up.
I bet, and this is a question for Joe, I suppose, who will be on with us in about 12 minutes. If you like the Bengals to win tonight, there's probably a way to play that on the futures market. Because then it's a little bit like New England and Buffalo, where they'd be a game and a half out behind the Steelers.
Right.
But with the win head-to-head, like the Patriots have over the Bills. Mm-hmm. And, Baltimore and Cleveland struggling so badly. I don't know. There's so much wrong with Cincinnati.
I would not be able to get there. Like my backing the Bengals tonight is entirely just a one-off, short week division game. There is talent there. To me, Flacco could have a day where he doesn't throw it to the other team too many times, and Chase and Higgins get loose and just do their thing, and they score 27 points and win the game. Because the Steelers have not been really that great on offense. Like I don't think you really should be scared of them going in as bad as the Bengals have been largely on defense and down Trey Hendrickson on top of it. I'm not that worried about the Steelers boat racing them. Like, I think this will be a competitive game, and if it is, Flacco can make a play or two. That's really it. I don't think that there's staying power there. Like, I think whoever they play next week, they could lose, and he could throw 3 picks. Yeah, I'm betting on him having it together tonight.
Sabres are off for the next few days. They're back in action on Saturday at home, and they host the Florida Panthers. They did, though, pick up their first win last night. And for more on the game, Paul Hamilton has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. Tonight, though, in the NHL, 11 games this evening. Some notable action. At 7, the Devils host Florida and Ottawa. They are part of a back-to-back. They are going to host Seattle. And then 3 games at 10. Kings have Penguins in town. Hurricanes, they're out west versus the Anaheim Ducks. And then the Golden Knights, they host the Boston Bruins. For football, it is Thursday night, so Cincinnati is going to be hosting Pittsburgh. That game is going to be over on Amazon Prime for TV, but you can also listen right here on WGR with coverage beginning at 7:30. Kickoff at 8:15. For the Bengals, edge rusher Trey Hendrickson not expected to be in the lineup, while Steelers safety Deshaun Elliott is expected to be in Pittsburgh's lineup. And then some breaking news in college football. Indiana is giving head coach Curt Cignetti a new 8-year deal, $11.6 million annually. And with that deal, it now makes Cignetti the third highest paid coach in college football. And in baseball, Game 3 of the NLCS, Dodgers host Milwaukee. They do hold a 2-0 series lead. First pitch just after 6, Aaron Ashby and Tyler Glasnow, the starters. Then at 8:30, Game 4 of the ALCS, Seattle hosts Toronto. Mariners do hold a 2-1 series lead. Max Scherzer and Luis Castillo are on the bump. It's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I think they are saving some stuff. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but I think they're trying to be fully formed by January and maybe hold back a little bit, kind of similar to Kansas City. It's a different way of thinking. You know, it's kind of like the old Greg Popovich Spurs where you spend a couple months kind of playing possum with teams. Maybe it's an excuse. There shouldn't be an excuse because they look bad in Atlanta. But I do think that the Bills are maybe holding back some stuff and that maybe they got to pull it out a little sooner than they expected.
Tyler Dunn with us. I guess we just can't know that answer. He might be right. You know, I mentioned to Tyler, and we're talking about this constantly now, like the season and what role New England might play in all of this. On one hand, sure, much cleaner path if you're the division winner again, especially if it's easy and you can negotiate through December knowing that you've already won it. But the 1 seed was the point this year, with or without a challenger from within. Like, that's what kind of everybody said was the thing that mattered. And for that, you need to beat everybody. It's not just the Patriots, but it's also Indianapolis and Pittsburgh if it goes to 5-1 tonight, and Kansas City and more. So that, you know, you've got the Chiefs here in 2 games, week 9. Bye week, then at Carolina, then Kansas City. And it could feel by then like that's maybe out of reach.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to. There's a lot going through my mind right now. We've talked about the idea of holding things back for a couple of years now, and I feel like we've gotten all kinds of answers on that from guys who have been on teams that sense that maybe they were doing that, and other guys that'll tell you, no, man, whatever we're capable of putting on the field, we're putting on the field. We're going to go beat this team this week and give you our best stuff, and, you know, hopefully have, you know, ways to spin off of that, but we're not holding back. So I don't know where to land on that. But if the goal, the stated goal, isn't going to just continue to take on water here, which it has for 2 weeks in a row, they need to get it together quickly here. I mean, Carolina should not be a game that gives you much pause. But right now, with the form that they're in, with the lack of answers they seem to have on offense, I'm going to be nervous until I see it again. Until I see them be able to put a team down comfortably. I'm not going to take any game for granted. That's what the last 2 weeks have given me. And then it is the Chiefs right after that. And so if you are holding anything back, that's probably the end of it, like I got the Chiefs in town. I'm going to want to have a head-to-head on them at the very least if it comes to hopefully the 1 seed, but even if it's any other seed, I'm going to want to have, a leg up on them. So, just like New England could close to within a game of you and ultimately pass you if you lose a couple, the Chiefs, if they win again and then come here and beat you, they're suddenly right on your tail when it seemed like they were never buried, but they were wobbling for sure early in the season, and that seems like a very long time ago. It got late quick with that idea because they don't look wobbly at all to me.
How many losses can the Bills afford? For the one or just in general? I mean, they're different questions.
I still feel like 4 is the max.
For the one.
For the one. 5 could maybe with tiebreakers. Like if you beat the Chiefs, you've already beaten the Ravens. But how many games am I going to trust that the Colts are going to fumble away at some point? They're 5-1 right now. So I can't fall any further behind them and expect to just catch them. I wouldn't imagine that their schedule is that hard considering they're in the division that they're in. So I think 4. I feel like 2 more games is all that I could comfortably afford to lose. And that's not a sure thing either, but I feel like that's a number I think I could live with. 4.
Yeah, I think that's probably the minimum or the most you can afford, I should say, to lose also. The Colts or whoever else you want, like there still are, there's parity this year, but there still are bad teams. And bad teams, the later you play them, can get worse because their motives are different and they're careful with injuries. And there's really no reason to push anybody or anything. So right now in the AFC, you have 5 teams that are 1-5 or worse. The Jets being worse at 0-6. And like maybe Baltimore being among them is one that isn't kind of getting the check on this year, but the others might be. Like Miami, what's going to happen? Maybe they make changes mid-season. Like, I just don't really see a rally happening.
To me, they're already playing out the string. It's inevitable that there's going to be big change there, I think. And I'd be surprised if the people there don't know that or feel that in some way. I'm not saying the owners told them, but you'd have to, just completely have your head in the sand to not think you're in real trouble there. Coach, GM, maybe even quarterback, who knows? So, yeah, I think that's right. And, Baltimore even, if they lose a couple more here, right, they're on bye, they're supposed to get Lamar back, and maybe it stabilizes, and they keep their heads above water. But if they don't, what does their season end up looking like? I mean, I'm not here to tell you they're going to start spinning off parts. They'll expect to be a contender again right away next year if this year gets away from them. But what are they going to be for other teams they're playing? Like if you're counting on them to trip Pittsburgh up at some point, but they feel they're out of it, then that's not. I don't know if I can count on them.
That's a very important series.
Yeah.
Weeks 14 and 18 are their games with Pittsburgh.
Sure. I mean,
like if they're dead.
Right. Pittsburgh could just get 2 wins you did not, expect. Maybe you at best were thinking a split there, but that could impact the whole thing as it goes. That's why I'm, going to really be rooting for Pittsburgh to drop a game here tonight. I mean, I just can't fathom them being 5-1, but I mean, it could happen. They're favored. But yeah, the rest of it, the Bengals being down, that's easier. I mean, that's right away tonight for Pittsburgh. But that could improve the path forward for them if their competition isn't as urgently needing what's presenting itself. The next game wise, I mean.
Indianapolis' schedule is not cake, I would say. But they do have, they have some games you'd expect them to win. Tennessee again, that's at home in week 8. They've got, I don't know, depends on what Jacksonville is late in the season or Houston. It's actually not easy. Chargers, Titans, Steelers, Falcons, bye week. Chiefs at Kansas City, Houston, Jacksonville, at Seattle, San Francisco, Jacksonville, Houston. That's Indianapolis the rest of the way. I think that's probably
4 more losses.
11 wins, 11, 12.
Yeah.
Probably first place. Don't know. Cincinnati tonight could go from on that other list of teams that just like maybe are going to roll over for you, or they could have some life here if they win tonight. Maybe defense gets a little bit better. No Hendrickson in this game. Flacco, I mean, they didn't bring him in just to lose. They made an effort by trading for him.
They're 3-4 with a win tonight, and the Steelers dropped to 4-2. Yeah. So they played the extra game. They haven't had their bye yet. Pittsburgh has, but yeah, I mean, it's a little like the Bills-Patriots scenario from a couple weeks ago. Like a division game, like it seems like you're dead. Maybe you're not. Not that the Patriots seem dead coming in here, far from it.
The thing about Baltimore that I would be optimistic about is that they have 5 of their 6 division games left, and nobody's that good. Like if they played Cincinnati tonight with Lamar Jackson, they'd be a touchdown favorite, wouldn't they? Like they'd be favored to beat Cincinnati with Lamar Jackson. Maybe not without him. They've got the Browns again. They'll have the Steelers twice. Like maybe the Steelers have a season where they just defense is excellent and they're good enough to withstand whatever kind of chasers they encounter. But I think that would be the thing if I were the Ravens that I would be optimistic about. Is I'm in a relatively weak division right now, and I've got 5 games left against these guys. So
get my quarterback back on the field. Maybe some other injuries stabilize because, I mean, they have just been wrecked.
That could be a year where you finish first at 9-8. It could be one of those. Mm-hmm. And for Baltimore, like that's not impossible to get there from 1-5. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. The Line Bulldog is next.
Oh, sure.
You've been ready and waiting for that.
I am ready.
That'll be after the break. You'll enjoy it. This is WGR. NFL tonight, Amazon for Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. 5.5 from the Steelers. You know what you want to do with this game?
Well, before I found out Trey Hendrickson was not going to play, I decided I could see Joe Flacco having one last amazing night with those receivers. And it's the short week thing, and so I took the Bengals on the money line with some Flacco action.
Flaction, if you will.
Action. Sure.
Flaction. Weeknight flaction.
And I should admit, I looked once I got here and I found out Hendrickson is not expected to play now. Did not know that when I put the parlay in. It was still offering me the full amount back, and I went, no, you know what? I'm going to just stay. I'm just going to stay. I'm going to stay here. I'm not redoing it.
The full amount.
Yeah.
Wow. Are the Bengals dead? Going into this game, would you say they're dead? 2-4.
Well, I mean, I'm picking them to win this game, but yes, I think even if they win this game, I think it will not hold up. I just cannot imagine it's going to hold up.
I bet, and this is a question for Joe, I suppose, who will be on with us in about 12 minutes. If you like the Bengals to win tonight, there's probably a way to play that on the futures market. Because then it's a little bit like New England and Buffalo, where they'd be a game and a half out behind the Steelers.
Right.
But with the win head-to-head, like the Patriots have over the Bills. Mm-hmm. And, Baltimore and Cleveland struggling so badly. I don't know. There's so much wrong with Cincinnati.
I would not be able to get there. Like my backing the Bengals tonight is entirely just a one-off, short week division game. There is talent there. To me, Flacco could have a day where he doesn't throw it to the other team too many times, and Chase and Higgins get loose and just do their thing, and they score 27 points and win the game. Because the Steelers have not been really that great on offense. Like I don't think you really should be scared of them going in as bad as the Bengals have been largely on defense and down Trey Hendrickson on top of it. I'm not that worried about the Steelers boat racing them. Like, I think this will be a competitive game, and if it is, Flacco can make a play or two. That's really it. I don't think that there's staying power there. Like, I think whoever they play next week, they could lose, and he could throw 3 picks. Yeah, I'm betting on him having it together tonight.
Got a couple thoughts for you here, Bulldog. I know you're excited about it as well. The line is upon us.
The line, yes. I missed the line last Thursday. I felt terrible about it.
That's right. You were sick.
I was out sick, yeah.
Each Thursday
what happened? Sorry.
I don't remember what I said. I'm sure it was great. Very pithy and wise. Each Thursday at this time, we look at betting lines for the game tonight and some of the other interesting options you have this weekend. Presented by FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. I have been really lucky on Thursdays, and I don't think there's any particular reason for it. I don't get up earlier. I don't stretch on Thursdays and not on Sundays. It's just one game. Maybe that helps that I'm just not distracted by all the other games. Yeah. There's not a lot of fantasy decision-making to do tonight. I mean, Chase, Metcalf, Jalen Warren, I guess, they play. Higgins, probably, maybe not.
Chase Brown?
That's close. Nothing's really happening there.
Well,
don't hate it.
You don't have all the clutter. So clear minds, full hearts. You're not thinking about too many things.
Right.
That's what it is.
That's definitely it.
It's definitely not luck.
The player I like tonight in terms of props, and I would be willing to start him in fantasy unless my team is just like loaded, is Kenneth Gainwell. A lot of people just don't like him as what he was as a prospect, I guess. I have no opinion on that. He was the backup in Philadelphia, even behind Miles Sanders a few years ago. The game was that in Dublin where they played Minnesota? I thought he was fabulous.
Yeah, he was.
Warren was out for that game, and Gainwell was up to it. I like all his overs tonight. Anytime touchdowns, 2-1. I mean, Warren is going to play 2, but I kind of feel like they'll engage Gainwell, that he'll be a part of the game plan. And I really don't like the Bengals. I like Pittsburgh more than Cincinnati. I would give the 5.5. Not in love with it, but I just don't trust the Bengals to protect well enough, to defend well enough. But they will look good in their all-white Tiger outfits.
It's the one, I think, tolerable uniform kit that the Bengals can put on the field. The rest of it, I just cannot stand those uniforms. Never have. As far as the football game goes, I am on the Bengals, and I'm even going money line on the Bengals. Division game. I like Tyler reminding us like they had a bye, and then a Sunday, Thursday. They just might feel all a little too quick. Whereas, like, if you were in the flow of your season week to week and hadn't had the week off in between, it would just be like, oh, short week. But I feel like it feels even shorter to me with that. So I'm just going to bank on some, glorious Joe Flacco night here. So I like the Bengals. I got a couple of hockey ideas for you if you're interested. I like Colorado -1.5 at Columbus tonight. That's at +157. At least it was when I looked at it earlier. And I also like Montreal tonight -1.5 at home against Nashville. Around the same 160, so you want to pair those up even. I mean, it's risky. A lot of guys. I miss a lot on the -1.5 on the puck line, but I like both of these teams a lot. Montreal, I think, is going to be really good this year.
Wow.
I like a lot of their young talent.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, right? So I know those are a couple of hockey ideas for you. Colorado and Montreal, both -1.5.
I don't see anywhere where you can bet it, but I would bet that Joe Brady is not with the Bills next year. Think about it. 803-0550. Will Joe Brady be offensive coordinator for the Bills next year? What would the odds be on that? 50-50? Better, worse? What would the odds be on that? Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. We'll look for your calls after sports. This is WGR. Sabres win. First win of the year, first lead of the year, then first win of the year. 8 goals. Wow. From 2 in 3 games to 8 in 1. Wow, pretty good.
Yeah, and they got pushed.
Folks,
Third period
Bulldog
opened,
here letting you know
right,
that
a 5-2 lead going into the third, and 2 quick ones for Ottawa. And I mean, anyone who doesn't admit that they were like, oh, here we go, all caps, right? This is Colorado last year, whatever. Same old, but boom, they scored right away. Just took the game right back. That was maybe the most encouraging thing from the whole night, is that they got in a spot where I would have expected them to be pretty shook in that moment. But Lindy called a timeout, and they got it right back on track. It helps that the Ottawa goalie was,
It does.
not capable, is how I want to put it. He had really great numbers, very small number, like under 20 games in the NHL from last year into this year, like maybe 12 games total, but excellent numbers. Like save percentage last year, 920 something. And they're like, okay, this is going to be one of these guys we're all like, oh, who is this guy? Well, he's actually good. No, he's not. I don't know how he could even have those numbers in the NHL looking the way he just was. He was out to lunch last night, I thought. So, good.
Sorry I missed it.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure right now what I was watching instead. Oh, curling.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Good.
Grand Slam event out in Nisku.
Well, you'll be ready for our next curling pregame show then.
Yeah, so ready. Are the Bengals dead? Going into this game, would you say they're dead? 2-4.
Well, I mean, I'm picking them to win this game, but yes, I think even if they win this game, I think it will not hold up. I just cannot imagine it's going to hold up.
I bet, and this is a question for Joe, I suppose, who will be on with us in about 12 minutes. If you like the Bengals to win tonight, there's probably a way to play that on the futures market. Because then it's a little bit like New England and Buffalo, where they'd be a game and a half out behind the Steelers.
Right.
But with the win head-to-head, like the Patriots have over the Bills. Mm-hmm. And, Baltimore and Cleveland struggling so badly. I don't know. There's so much wrong with Cincinnati.
I would not be able to get there. Like my backing the Bengals tonight is entirely just a one-off, short week division game. There is talent there. To me, Flacco could have a day where he doesn't throw it to the other team too many times, and Chase and Higgins get loose and just do their thing, and they score 27 points and win the game. Because the Steelers have not been really that great on offense. Like I don't think you really should be scared of them going in as bad as the Bengals have been largely on defense and down Trey Hendrickson on top of it. I'm not that worried about the Steelers boat racing them. Like, I think this will be a competitive game, and if it is, Flacco can make a play or two. That's really it. I don't think that there's staying power there. Like, I think whoever they play next week, they could lose, and he could throw 3 picks. Yeah, I'm betting on him having it together tonight.
Sabres are off until Saturday, where they are back at home. They will host the Florida Panthers. For more, though, on last night's win, the first of the season, Paul Hamilton has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. 11 games, though, in the NHL this evening. Some notable action at 7. Maple Leafs host the Rangers, and Nashville is in Montreal to take on the Canadiens. 8 p.m. sees the Stars hosting Vancouver, and then 3 games at 10. Kings have the Penguins in town, Hurricanes out west versus the Anaheim Ducks, and the Golden Knights will host the Boston Bruins. In the NFL, Thursday Night Football tonight, Cincinnati hosts Pittsburgh. For television purposes, of course, it is an Amazon Prime broadcast, but you can also listen to the game right here on WGR starting at 7:30 with kickoff at 8:15. Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson not expected to be in the lineup, but Steelers safety Deshaun Elliott is. And then a look ahead to this weekend. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua not practicing for a second straight day. He's dealing with an ankle injury. All signs are pointing to him being out at least this week. And then some good news for the Cowboys. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb spoke with the media today, and he says he will play this weekend without limitations as they take on Washington this Sunday. Lamb has not played since week 3. In college football, Indiana is giving head coach Kirk Cignetti a new 8-year deal, $11.6 million annually. This deal now makes Cignetti the third highest paid coach in college football, only behind Ryan Day and Kirby Smart of Ohio State and Georgia, respectively. And then in baseball, Game 3 of the NLCS, Dodgers host Milwaukee. They do hold a 2-0 series lead. First pitch just after 6. Aaron Ashby and Tyler Glasnow, your starters for tonight. Then at 8:30, Game 4 of the ALCS. Seattle hosts Toronto, and the Mariners do hold a 2-1 series lead. Max Scherzer and Luis Castillo are the two pitchers on the bump tonight. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet, celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp
This guy's a real jerk.
and the Bulldog
I'm sort of anal retentive, OCD kind of whack job.
on WGR.
Welcome back, and thanks for listening today, this week, all the time. Bye week for the Bills. Still, it's been active in here this week since their Monday night loss in Atlanta. What have you been waiting to say? 803-0550, we're wide open this hour. I brought up before the last break the thought that Joe Brady, whether he'll be with the Bills next year or not, offensive coordinator, and my prediction is that he will not be.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, because that's how I feel too.
Okay.
Yeah. I think what could happen from here? They right the ship, whether or not they add someone or not. They get back to their usual stuff, and he takes the Penn State job or some other NFL head coaching job. Like
right.
he continues to be a rising star in the head coaching world, which he already is. He's on the list of potential coordinator candidates. And you mentioned the other day he's maybe the betting favorite to land the Penn State job, right?
Yes.
So I think they get on track, then I think that happens. And not that there isn't some vague-ish middle ground where he could just stay here because he doesn't do enough to attract the attention of a better job. I feel like if they don't figure it out and get back to scoring their 30 points and the offense sort of just spins its wheels here, I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills wanted to move on. I just think that's how it would work. Like if there'll be a lot of scapegoating, like McDermott's defense is a bigger problem and all that sort of stuff. But the offense has an indisputable Superman on their side of the ball. The defense does not have that player. I don't even know who the best player on that defense is. It might be right now Joey Bosa, who just showed up and is probably renting somewhere. Offense should be this team's meal ticket, and if it doesn't get fixed, then I could see them moving on. Or even if it just stays sort of average, I could see them wanting to do better than that. So I think either scenario, he is not here. So that's why I would bet on him not being here.
I think that's right. I think it's more for me just I keep hearing his name. Like we're far enough into the season that people are having conversations about their next coach, and you see this on betting sites offshore. But the Penn State one I heard about on BetSweats, yeah, he was the betting favorite whenever, like this week, to be the next coach at Penn State. Why are we talking about that now? Because they just fired their guy. $50 million buyout and all, James Franklin. So that's on the table. And Tennessee now made a coaching change too. So you see these lists come out. Joe Brady is 36. Must be nice. He's done a lot. Like he has been a part of what LSU was, of course. That was, I say of course, like everybody would know that. That's probably not correct. but he was there. And, he's been other places. He's been here. He's gotten the benefit, not to slight him, of having Allen to work with, and the numbers are mostly great. So I think that's the recipe for getting the next level up, for leveling up as a coach.
Yeah, and I would say, look, I'm presenting both scenarios because both are certainly possible. But I would bet on them figuring out enough that he attracts attention. That ends up being the route. That they don't choose to part ways with him, but that he elevates enough. They end up winning their 12 or 13 games, and the offense does get on track enough to score their 30 points or thereabouts. And so I think if he puts that down for a second year in a row, then it's almost, I don't want to say, impossible for me to foresee him not have. I think he'll have opportunities. It's a question of whether or not he thinks the Penn State job is a good job right now. Right? Is that where I want to go? Is that, or should I stay put here until I can get the head coaching job I want? Does he really like Cam Ward? Right? Does he think he can work with Cam Ward? Or is he going to be like Ben Johnson and wait, wait until the right opportunity presents itself. But either way, I think opportunity will be there for him. I don't think the Bills will stay in this spot where they are scoring 14 points against Atlanta. I think Allen's too good. I think Brady is a creative enough guy. They'll figure something out to get this going. And I would expect that sooner rather than later. So I think he'll probably elevate to the point where you're going to have a hard time keeping him.
Brady was at Penn State, by the way. It's probably a part in why he's the favorite.
Yeah.
That's how they do those things. But he was there as a grad assistant for 2 years. He was in New Orleans under Sean Payton, then LSU for the one big year, and then 2 years in Carolina. That was Matt Rule. That went badly. Gets in with McDermott as a quarterback's coach, and then last 2 years coordinator. There's also, I suppose, you're running through possible outcomes. There's also one where he's the head coach of the Bills, isn't there?
I suppose, but I have a very hard time seeing.
Here's
lay out the scenario
formula
for me. How does it happen?
It happens if the whole thing just sort of drags down, and either it's a first-round loss or it's a non-playoff season, like it's 10-7, that kind of a season, or even worse. But the offense isn't really why. It's kind of what I think this season is so far. That defensively they've been gashed against the run. They had the good passing stats until, a couple things changed that. And then everybody's open in Atlanta. So I think they might be on a path. Here I am bringing this up. I just wanted to make the point about Brady. But I think they might be on a path where by the end of the year, if they don't, yes or no, I think they have to make the AFC Championship game at least for anybody to think the year was a success.
Sure, I think that's right.
If Indianapolis...
I don't even think that will do it for many people.
I agree with that. If Indianapolis or Kansas City, if somebody else is too good, and, you have that excuse if you don't make it, well, that's a little different. But we're 6 weeks into the season, and I don't think we have that. Indianapolis is a surprise, and they're good. But I doubt we're going to get to the end of the road here and be like, well, what can you do? Nobody could beat the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the Chiefs, that could be the team for this point, but you lose to the same team in the playoffs 4 times. Or is it even 4 already?
Yeah.
Is it even 4 already? It is. It's 4 in 5 years. It's 4 already.
That's right. Yeah, it's the AFC Championship game in 20, 13 seconds, in 21, and then the home loss in 22 and last year.
Right. 20
or 23.
23 and last year. Yeah, it'd be 5 times in 6 years.
Yeah.
That would be, you know how the fans sound sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that kind of a seat, not the AFC Championship, probably, but short of that, or well short of that, if that's how this ends, and the offense is still pretty good.
Yeah.
I could see maybe it just sort of ends that way and you promote your OC.
I don't see it at all. I really want to push back, and I think very hard at that. These two games they've lost, they scored 23 and 14 points. Tell me again. This is the same conversation from the playoff losses. Tell me again what my problem is. I don't care how many yards the Falcons had in the first half. They got a stinking field goal in the second half of that game, and I scored like 30. I got like 30 yards on 3 drives where I had a chance to tie the game. Like, my offense is my bigger problem right now. The defense is what we pick at because it's very familiar, and yes, they are getting exposed. I'm not arguing, but I scored 14 points on Monday Night Football against the Atlanta Falcons. Had no answers for a blitz, like with Josh Allen as my quarterback. Come on, New England. Like who are they to come in here and limit the Bills on offense? So I think the offense is in the losses. I know en masse the season so far, the defensive rankings, the yards, the rushing yards, all of it are much worse than their offensive numbers are. But I won 4 of those games. The 2 games I've lost, my offense has killed me, I think, in those games. So I just don't see a scenario where I'm flushing Sean McDermott for the guy who's running that offense. Unless I think if everything picks up, I think if the offense scores like it can score, the defense will still be a concern, but it won't be what gets them beat, I don't think. I think it'll be, can I put enough points on the board, ultimately?
How about a scenario where McDermott takes some time away, just doesn't want to do it?
Goes on sabbatical.
Goes on the NFL Today. Could you ever see that? How would you vote in a poll? Will Sean McDermott ever be a studio analyst? Maybe. Everybody is. If he wants to be, he will.
That's right.
If he wants to be, he will.
He's got to want to do it. And I don't know. He's opened up a lot personality-wise in the last few years. Certainly since he first got here, it's almost night and day. But I think even in the last few years, it's really noticeable. But that's a whole nother step. Like, I don't know. I have a very hard time seeing him doing that myself.
Well, none of that would be, I think, at all the likeliest outcome, but just playing it out. Is Brady back next year? Here's Pat with us. Hi, Pat.
Hey, guys. When I'm watching these games, and I wonder if Brady's incentives are a little screwy. To me, the best way to have a great offense is to just let Josh be Josh and not do anything all that interesting. Just give him the ball and let him win. And I see the play to Elijah Moore, cute stuff, all sorts of different things than they used to do. And I wonder if it's Brady thinking about, how do I position myself for that next job and just not be the guy who's going along for the ride with the best QB ever.
I guess I haven't thought about it as, if you will, as cynically as that. It just, these are the kind of comments that I just don't ever want to buy into, because they assume like sort of sinister ulterior motives and different things. Like, I think a coach can want to show like his hand, right, or show his stuff. I think that can be true, but got to think on good teams, in functional organizations, mostly that's within the confines of what's best for that team.
Yeah, it's in the interest of winning the games. Yeah, I mean, that's what I don't buy it at all. I mean, and I think it drastically oversimplifies what, just let Josh Allen cook. You have to have plays. You have to have schemes. You have to have things drawn up, right? You have to try to draw coverage, and you have just a lot of things that go into the soup there that I just don't think it's as simple as he should just let Josh Allen drop back and sling it. Like, that's just not how it works. It's way too complicated for that. And, I don't know, maybe sometimes it's needlessly complicated, and that's where I think the caller, there's some nuance to the point. Like, if you're trying too hard to impress, right? But you can't just throw it to the quarterback and say, go do it. I mean, that's not realistic.
All right, here's Jay next. Hi, Jay.
Hey, how you doing, guys? So I've had a few days to think about this stupid loss from Monday, and I think, and in keeping with the conversation about Joe Brady and whether he's attractive as a coaching candidate here or elsewhere, I think what's bothered me about Monday, and I think what's been bothering me for most of the season, is I'm seeing regression, right? I'm seeing an offensive line that, for the most part, has been a really strong part of this offense, played like garbage, and having Allen with a ton of happy feet kind of got me the feeling of like 2018, Josh, you know? And then I'm looking at the regression of what I think is schemes. I'm not pretending to be some football aficionado and all that kind of stuff, but I see what even Atlanta had done for at least the first half, and I'm watching our team just sort of, I feel like, coasting. And I feel like a lot of what I see Josh doing is like sandlot football. And I just find that I should not be seeing a team with this offensive centaur in Allen, despite maybe some of the issues we might have at receiver and elsewhere, regressing. And I don't know, I do not feel, I'll end here, I don't feel confident that this go-around with this roster, they can pull it back and get to like 13 wins. And I'm feeling very discouraged about that. I think Joe Brady, for me right now, is making me feel that way. And I just don't have any confidence that we'll be able to pull this train in a different direction than we might have even last year. Thanks, guys.
You know, within all that, you have to wonder. I mean, really germane to this conversation too is about is Brady here next year? Is where is Allen in all of this? He's mostly been, I think, outwardly sort of a passenger. And before you jump on me for saying it that way, like he doesn't flex, really, right? I don't know. Even behind closed doors, I get the impression that he mostly is pretty just, you're the coach, I do my job, you tell me what plays to run, like that. That he's very, polite about that. Like, you're the boss, right? I work for you kind of thing, even though, he's by far the most important person in the organization. Does that change? Like, if they struggle, if this continues, right? They find their way to beat Carolina, but it's 24-10 or something or whatever. Carolina's just inept and never a threat, and the Bills just sort of get through the game. And then it's Kansas City. And what does that look like? What does Spagnuolo have in store? And if Allen starts to lose faith in the whole operation, like that's a huge swing vote in the whole thing. Would be for McDermott too, if Allen ever got to the point where he wanted to assert himself that way. And I think if they ever get to the point where ownership is legitimately thinking about making it the biggest change, you absolutely bring Allen in to talk about it and take his temperature on it. And hopefully he's honest and earnest about that and not just passive like I perceive him to be mostly so far in all of this. But Brady, to me, is a much bigger deal. Like, if the offense doesn't get going, there's no way to me that Josh Allen will just go, this is fine. You're the coach. You're the boss. Like, eventually that will break, I think.
Mm-hmm. I would say that too. Mike is next. Hello, Mike.
Hey, guys. Question and an opinion. Opinion, I think that Brady is a little bit stubborn. We tried that handoff situation 5 times this year with either the tight end or the wide receiver, and twice we got penalties on it, and 3 times we got stuffed. But he keeps going back to it like he did in the championship game last year. We had failed on that quarterback sneak to the left side 3 times out of the last 4, but we go for it again. So I think he's a bit stubborn, wanting to, I'm right, I know I'm going to get this right. My question is, do you guys think that he and the head coach McDermott actually talk? So here's the example. There's Bills 7 minutes left in the half. Bills ball at their own 49-yard line. They got a 3rd down and 3. Does Brady know if McDermott is going to go for it on 4th down? Or is he calling a play saying, I got to get 3 or 4 because I don't know if I'm going to go for it on 4th down? Whereas Andy Reid, sitting in the same situation, knows what he's going to do on that situation. I think that's a huge advantage. And I just don't know. I mean, it just seems like Brady probably didn't discuss with McDermott that Elijah Moore run on 3rd and 1. So I just wonder what the communication is between the two of them.
My guess would be that because McDermott, I'm not sure I want to say defers those decisions, but that's a team effort. Those fourth down decisions are not his and his alone. And if they were, then I think this is, it's still a good question either way. But I think how it should be is whoever's voice it is from above that's crunching numbers would have the red, yellow, or green or whatever they would do. Like, I would think that would be in the headset.
It would be surprising to me if Brady doesn't know what they're thinking as far as four downs go.
I mean, there are so many people in there in that box.
Yep.
Like, I would think he would know. And I don't even know if he wouldn't have a say in it as the play caller, what they might do there. So at least that's how I think it should be. And if it isn't that way, then you might have a fair complaint, because I'd want my play caller to know what the plan is on 4th and 3 if we are stuck there.
It's become so much a part of the game that it would really surprise me if it weren't the case. But I don't know that it is for sure. I do feel like McDermott tries to sort of stay out. Like, Allen's going to talk to the quarterback coach. He's going to talk to Joe Brady. And, like, I'm just going to let them cook. Right? I feel like, but fourth down is a different piece of that, and that's not necessarily Allen isn't even really involved in that conversation. He'll hear things on his head, on the before 15 seconds on the play clock, but unless they're in a timeout, and that's a different situation. But I think in the flow of a game, it would really surprise me if the play caller doesn't know we're in 4-down territory here.
Yeah, that's how it should be. 803-0550 for your calls. We'll take a break for the update. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR. Sabres win. First win of the year, first lead of the year, then first win of the year. 8 goals. Wow. From 2 in 3 games to 8 in 1. Wow, pretty good.
Yeah, and they got pushed. The third period opened, right? They had a 5-2 lead going into the third and 2 quick ones for Ottawa. And, I mean, anyone who doesn't admit that they were like, oh, here we go, all caps, right? This is Colorado last year, whatever. Same old, but boom, they scored right away. Just took the game right back. That was maybe the most encouraging thing from the whole night, is that they got in a spot where I would have expected them to be pretty shook in that moment. But Lindy called a timeout, and they got it right back on track. It helps that the Ottawa goalie was,
it does,
not capable, is how I want to put it. He had really great numbers, very small number, like under 20 games in the NHL from last year into this year, like maybe 12 games total, but excellent numbers. Like save percentage last year, 920 something. And they're like, okay, this is going to be one of these guys we're all like, oh, who is this guy? Well, he's actually good. No, he's not. I don't know how he could even have those numbers in the NHL looking the way he just was. He was out to lunch last night, I thought. So, good.
Sorry I missed it.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure right now what I was watching instead. Oh, curling.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Good.
Grand Slam event out in Nisku.
Well, you'll be ready for our next curling pregame show then.
Yeah, so ready.
Buffalo Sabres off the next few days following picking up their first win of the season last night. They're next in action on Saturday. They'll be hosting the Florida Panthers. But for more on yesterday, our own Paul Hamilton has a piece up at our website, WGR550.com. To the NFL, Thursday Night Football will kick off the week. Cincinnati hosting Pittsburgh. For television purposes, it is, of course, an Amazon Prime broadcast, but you can also listen to the game right here on WGR with coverage starting at 7:30. Kickoff for tonight is at 8:15. Bengals edge rusher Trey Hendrickson not expected to play tonight. Steelers safety, though, Deshaun Elliott, is expected in the lineup. And some other injury notes to keep an eye on as we head into the weekend. Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua not practicing for a second straight day. He's dealing with that ankle injury, and signs are pointing to him at least missing this week. And then good news for the Cowboys. Wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. He spoke with the media today, says he's planning to play without any limitations this Sunday against Washington. And for Lamb, he has not played since week 3. In college football, Indiana giving head coach Kirk Cignetti a new 8-year deal, $11.6 million annually. And this now does make Cignetti the third highest paid coach in college. Only Kirby Smart of Georgia and Ryan Day of Ohio State beat him out. And then in baseball, Game 3 of the NLCS, Dodgers hosting Milwaukee. LA holds a 2-0 series lead. First pitch just after 6, Aaron Ashby and Taylor Glasnow, the starters tonight. Then at 8:30, Game 4 of the ALCS. Mariners hosting Toronto. Seattle holds a 2-1 series lead. Max Scherzer and Luis Castillo are on the bump tonight. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Again, I don't see it as cute stuff. I see it as plays that, like I said, we've given a lot of sweeps to Elijah Moore this year, and they've been good for us. But there's timing in the situations with it. We came out of last year, and we did a lot of just QB sneaks and teams packing it up in there, and we knew that was going to have to be another element to our short yardage, was being able to get the ball out on the perimeters.
Joe Brady there, we've been talking about him. I mean, Elijah Moore has 5 carries this year for the Bills, so they've done some of it. Backfired on Monday night.
Sure did.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Steelers-Bengals is the Thursday night game on WGR. Pittsburgh, a 5.5-point road favorite, looking to get to 5-1. Here's Russell with us next. Hi, Russell.
How's it going?
Great, Russell. Thanks for calling us. We appreciate it.
Hey, it's a great show. I try to chime in. Steve Tasker and I, we had a great conversation earlier last week. To me, I can't put my finger on this, but the Bills came out flat. And for the life of me, I can't understand why they came out flat. It's like they were sleepwalking for the last 2 games. They were sleepwalking. And coming as a former professional athlete, I actually tried out for the Buffalo Sabres back in '88, and I used my own money, and I had my own passion, and I was cut and released. But going back to the Bills, there's no fire. Where's the fire at? You watch these players; they walk out, they stumble out of the line, out of the huddle, they get to the line of scrimmage. They're still making mistakes, stupid mistakes. Lining up offside, all that kind of stuff. I mean, it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. Who holds them accountable? And I swear to God, if one more person in a post-game press conference says anything about, we need to clean some stuff up, you're not a janitorial service. You are a professional NFL football team. You are the Buffalo Bills. And everybody in Buffalo around the world, they actually have a pride, a sense of pride. They get excited about watching these games. And for those guys to go out and do what they did the last 2 weeks, shame on them.
Okay, you said it all. I don't know. Were they flat?
They scored a touchdown on their first drive.
on Monday night they did.
So defense got flattened. I can't argue with that.
It's really been. I was thinking about this during the break, talking about Brady and these different questions about their offense. It's been a long time since we've had any of these conversations. Even last year, maybe we did for a week. Maybe this will go away in a week. But it just feels like a long time ago stuff right now with, different interpretations of their struggles. this is like Sabres talk. What Sabres talk is mostly, not that people do it, but what Sabres talk is mostly for the last decade is like, oh, well, they're not tough enough. Oh, well, they don't care enough. Oh, these kinds of things. And usually my reaction to that is, I think it's just that they're not good enough. I think that's what this looks like. If you're not good enough, then you're going to be offside, or you're going to be, you just, what did he say? Stumbling out of the huddle. I'd love to see a clip of that where they just trip over each other. I mean, I haven't really seen that. So I think this mistake can easily be made. Not to say that there couldn't be players who are not focused.
Their attention to detail has not been great really all year. The penalty stuff, again, they got away with it in these games that they won largely, but they've had these kind of mistakes, pre-snap stuff on offense and just ticky-tacky stuff on defense. I don't know about how often they've lined up offside like they did and cost themselves, a takeaway on the first play from scrimmage at the game like they did on Monday night, but there is some interpretation that could get you to attention to detail. I just don't know that is fire and all that. I mean, I think when so much of the way I think we perceive them looking and how we think they look is based on, are they moving the ball on offense and are they stopping the other team on defense? Like, that's it. And I don't know how much competitive fire or want to have to do with that. It can, but I think when you go 3 and out time after time after time, especially with this quarterback and the offense that we're used to seeing even earlier this year them put on the field, you can get to they don't care. They don't want it bad enough. I mean, I don't know. I almost think that's probably never 100% of it. Can it be some part of it? I mean, I can't tell you no, but I just think it's an easy default to get to when it isn't working, when receivers aren't open, when the quarterback doesn't know where to go with the ball, when Ty Johnson, their third down back, misses the blitz pickup, and Allen's got to just chuck the ball away because he's about to get flattened. Those things can make you look flat because you're literally getting flattened.
There are ebbs and flows, though, right? We're still... Whether we've been professional athletes in our lives, we're still people. Like, we know what life is like, and there are ebbs and flows. If you follow the NFL, rarely does any team not, have good or bad days. Only one thing. So it's not like it's not shameful to me that they lost games. I mean, they were even both close games. So I want to be, if I'm not going to be right about it, I at least want to be fair about it and think like this team has had so much success that the extent to which some fans have gone this week to blast them, to me, is kind of ridiculous. It might get to a point where these kinds of things really need to be said. I'm just not there yet. Dan is next. Hi, Dan.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
I don't really have much to say other than I lean more.
Well, thanks for calling.
What an opener, Dan.
I think it's more of the defense's problem. But with that said, we probably don't have a lot of money to even do anything in free agency anyways. So I was thinking, well, if you're not going to do nothing, you're going to have Grandpa Tre'Davious White playing there, which isn't all the coach's staff's fault because Dorian Strong got hurt, which I think he would have eventually taken over Tre'Davious White anyways. And we don't even know if this Maxwell Harrison's even going to be good because he hasn't even played even one practice down. So my thing is, then go after Olave or somebody who's not going to be that expensive and give Josh Allen another weapon and just try to outscore people since our defense is so bad. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where I'm at. I would support a receiver trade. I think I would even say at this point I would support it ahead of supplementing corner or safety, as much of a problem as it is. We were scared of the Bengals last year, right? Getting in the playoffs. Their defense was a disaster, but it was, well, they've got Burrow and they've got Chase and Higgins. Now, you're not getting Chase and Higgins in tandem. You're not even getting one player of that caliber. Because Olave, I don't know, is Olave maybe equal to Higgins? Maybe.
Better.
Okay, good.
In my opinion, better.
So if you can,
Chase.
You can make that happen, I would say go for it. Because I don't know that personnel-wise, on defense, I still feel like they will get a look at Hairston eventually, and they will get these guys back from suspension. And do I want to get to Milano? Because the ice is cracking under my feet as I'm walking further out onto the pond here. But you'll get some people back that will, I think, help. Offense, I don't know where that's coming from. They were down Kincaid, and maybe he matters a lot. They don't use him as much as someone who I'm led to believe matters as much as he does. So that's a little weird.
That's right.
To really process correctly. That doesn't mean he doesn't matter. But still, something else. I mean, everybody eats. Great slogan. Cool shirts. Love the hats. Congratulations on your 30 points a game last year. How's it going right now? Not real well. You were in the same spot at this time of the year last season, and they reacted. And they made a move. They thought, we don't have enough. We got to do something. And they've got a little longer runway this year because the trade deadline's a couple of weeks later than it used to be. They moved that. So it's, election day. So we've got still almost, 2 weeks. I don't know if they have a pivot in them. The cap is tight. So affording an expensive player would be really hard. But I don't think there's reinforcements coming. I don't know. Coleman is a ghost. I really thought that was going to take off this year, and it's not happening. And I don't know. Like, if they're counting on that to fix itself, or that they can help fix that enough to where they get something out of him that defenses have to actually respect, that would be awesome. But I think that's a long shot at this point. I think it would already be happening.
I want to think that too. Steve is next. Hi, Steve.
Hey, guys. Without getting into the whole, has the message gotten stale in the locker room and, all the hypothetical schematic things, which I don't think really anybody's privy to because this stuff is locked up like an Enigma World War II code machine. I think just a lot of it is they essentially ran that roster back almost 2 years in a row after that 13 seconds game, and they never really replenish it properly, and they chase running back and just a few positions that they haven't hit on, and I think the roster in general has just deteriorated to the point where it's just it's a mid-level roster without any exceptional talent on it. But our expectation is that we still, we expect to see all the flashes and all the greatness when we had, a lot of, I don't want to say the stars, but, I don't see anyone that's even like how Emmanuel Sanders was when he tagged in before he went out of retirement. It's just not there. There's no flash. I mean, it's a run-first team, and then pray on 3rd and 4 that you're going to pick it up when you throw it with no one that can get separation. It's frustrating, but I think that's really what we're looking at right now.
Yeah, I mean, I generally agree with this. The fact that they're a run-oriented team is not an accident, and it's correlated to what you're saying. I mean, the 3 tight end sets, or even 2, or the 6 linemen, like, that's not expensive. You have to make the right choices, but it doesn't cost you millions a year to put that on the field. And so I think it's all correlated. I just want to go a little bit slower here. I think the defense has a chance to become, serviceable with players coming back and time to regroup here. I don't want to give up on it. Offensively, that took them, basically this offense and these people took them a long way last year. And not even 2 weeks ago were we talking about how, like, maybe nobody in the conference is going to push them. I mean, this looks like it could be a smooth trip. It doesn't quite look like that now. But whatever you want to say about, and I think we've said it all about what they are at receiver and what they are on offense. I know that for as critical as I've been about this kind of thing, you got to capitulate to their results largely, just not like right now, not their last 2 games. It's 2 games, though. But you've had to sort of be like, you're 30 points a game is 30 points a game. That's second in the league. So that's all. I mean, I guess I run the risk of sounding a little bit soft on this. I do not want to sit here and be thinking like that it's over. And if they don't make big trades, like they're just going to go down. Yeah. It's just too early in the season for me to do that.
When you do sort of the way the caller was talking there, just the luxury they did have The safeties took turns being all pros. Tre'Davious White at one point was all pro. Matt Milano at one point was all pro.
Taron Johnson?
Maybe as a nickel corner. Whatever. You knew you had. There was a core of guys here that were that caliber of player. That does not.
That's right.
Who on this team? There's nobody on this team that's vying for all pro honors. Even Benford this year is way down. Like, he's getting beat way more than you would expect him to be getting beat. I'm not sure if I want way more, but he's getting beat. The completion percentage, quarterback rating against him this year is nowhere near what it was last year. So there's just not another guy on this team, let alone guys who are level risers. They don't have them.
Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here at 803-0550. Thanks for your call, Steve. This is WGR. Ready to take your game day to the next level? Enter online at WGR 550 for your chance to win a $300 tailgate tray certificate from Alibaba Kebab to feed 12 football fans. Each Friday, a winner will be announced during Football Friday with us. Fire up your taste buds at any of their 3 locations. Maybe you can trade for Rashid Shaheed or even Chris Olave from New Orleans, but not Alvin Kamara.
Doesn't sound like he'd be welcoming the idea of a locker stall in a city near you. No.
He wants to go to the beach.
They trade me, I'm going to go drink pina coladas somewhere. Is what he was quoted as saying. That's something.
Not that we would have any interest here, but
no, right. Yeah, Shaheed or Olave though. I'm listening.
Especially Olave, maybe not Shaheed.
Very different ideas, right? But
it just always for me comes back to like, would Brandon Beane do it? Would he do a 180 on this? That's what that trade I think does. Especially after this offseason, They did make the Cooper trade. It didn't really help them meaningfully, and they came into this season and drafted all defense, right? I mean, you know how he sounded. You know what he did. Kincaid and Coleman should not be ignored as, parts of this story. Those players were drafted highly by the Bills. Like he made those efforts. It's 2 different things. Caring about receiver, and then also, who do you choose to turn to? And those 2 guys, I mean, it's been mixed, maybe at best for Coleman, certainly, but even for Kincaid. So I think if I'm Beane, that's what I need to have happen for me. And hopefully I don't have Palmer out for long, and even Samuel can be relevant. Like that's where my bet is on those guys. Do I need to, really change the shape of all this by bringing in someone else that's going to cost me draft capital, going to cost me cap room, and maybe make a big difference to what I'm, like my philosophy? And you'd want that. Just like if you drafted Chris Olave, you would want your offense to be largely about him.
Yeah, Olave would be a huge philosophical shift. Because he's the number isn't bad this year, but he's got a contract extension, or is it a 5th-year option? He might have the 5th-year option waiting next year. But either way, like the number's manageable, but like you'd be inheriting someone that you would expect. You give up a 2nd-round pick, say, then you're paying him. Like he's
your number 1.
He's on your team, and he's not everybody eats. That's what that would represent. And that might be a lot. That's a step that I'd have a hard time seeing Beane take right now. I got to admit, as much as it's a very appealing idea to me, but I'd have a hard time seeing him do it.
It just would seem so reckless to me, even if you liked the idea and the player, to have the whole off-season go by and then get to October and be like, okay, well, whoops. I mean, they've won so much, and this season hasn't gone really that badly. So I would just be shocked if they made a big move. I think Shaheed is a fun idea that fits maybe what the Bills need most, which is deep speed, somebody like that. That's what they wanted Palmer to be, not always a deep threat.
And Shaheed would not be to me a philosophical. It's not Amari Cooper either. Amari Cooper's closer to a philosophical departure, reputation-wise. He was a number 1 receiver, and you went and traded for him. Now the money was very, advantageous, but Shaheed's a move I could see. That's not like our plan isn't working. That's just we need another guy.
I suppose. Earlier, we talked to Tyler Dunn about all this and more, and we'll have that conversation for you next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog, WGR.